Hello everyone. We're live. We're about to play some chess. Let me just go to Lead Chess here. One moment as I join an arena and I send this link out to my Discord. Hey, what's up? I'm just trying a YouTube stream for the first time because I was having a lot of issues with Twitch. And I figured why not? This is my first one. All right. We have the Canadian National Youth Tournament tomorrow. I played CYCCs growing up. I played a lot of them. Where's this one? Oh, the chat is showing up. Right there. Okay, great. It's just I can't chat from there because I'm not connected with my Google account. Alright. Let's play some chess. You're preparing my gambits. That's great. Which ones are you planning on playing? Is this chat? What's up, Zyrexia? How are you doing? Let me bring the chat box to life here. Maybe you guys will be able to see it. I didn't realize the chat box would work not on Twitch. Okay. Let's play. Let's join just the end of a 3-0 arena. We got 25-16 in this arena. What's up, Rafa? Fonzie, Zyrexia. We got a lot of friends here. We are playing Resolve 2-0. Alright, let us play our first game on YouTube Live, and let's get a gambit. Let's get a Bush Gas gambit. What a fitting one. What a fitting beginning. Queen E2. I was just looking for the gambit glasses, and then I got a Queen E2. Not sure what to do with that. You beat an FM, but you suck. That's a little offensive to me because I'm an FM. So I'd like to think that if you beat one, you'd be pretty good. Congratulations. That is no small feat. Alright, my opponent seems to be doing some shenanigans, keeping their king in the middle. They did stop knight g4, but I do want to kind of get them. Like knight b4 or something like this, or like d5. Let's play rook e8, and my next move is probably d5. Gotta open this up, right? Can't let them get away with this. Right? Alright, this is actually a pretty annoying pattern. Knight b4, attacking this, right? If you play rook c1, then I take a2, you come back, and then I play knight b4 again. Then you'll come back to c1, and I'll snatch that pawn, right? And if you castle it, I would have taken this. Okay, so then I went queen e2 just to come back. This seems like progress. One fun idea I have right now is c6, queen b6. That might be good. This is playable. Takes, this will be checkmate, takes, and queen e3. So otherwise, yeah, queen e2 would have defended that, but that was the only way, knight takes e2. So now we've got checkmate. First YouTube live game. We got him. We got him. Yeah, I think this was pretty much lost because white played very unprinciply here and did not get their king out of the middle of the board. And we punished them by, we played rook e8, we tried to strike at the center with d5, we played, and then immediately before giving them a chance to castle, we played knight b4, trying to cause a problem here, we played queen b6, trying to cause a problem here, and then all of a sudden, they were just totally overwhelmed, and like if they had just this bishop out, if they had one more developing move, they could have just castled to defend that with the rook. But alas, there was nothing to do here. They took the knight and got checkmated. So we got him. You just watched the video of my Von Popul game versus... Oh yes, we played each other. That was a fun game. That was a fun stream in general. But you seem like a pretty good player, and so good luck in the Canadian Youth Chess Championships. Oh, thank you, Rafa. Much appreciated. Yeah, pretty much me on Twitch is... I'm very stream of consciousness. I'm very stream of consciousness, so... hopefully that's helpful. Right now, it's a London, and I'm looking to hit him on b2, which is the one weak point, and now I think I can... Oh! Don't take twice on d4 and get checkmated. Almost had me. Almost had me. Almost had me. Alright, I'll take once. I'll take once. Not twice. I saw it. I saw it. Just in time. Alright, maybe d6 and e5 seems interesting. That's true. By taking, I did give them this square. But should I go knight b4 and bishop f5? Does that seem fun? It seems very risky. I guess they're going to castle long. Let me go here. Let me get my own king out of the middle. Second chat. I berserked and I just have such little time. Let's gambit this pawn. I don't know. If they castle, I want to mess this up a little bit. I'm just trying to cause a problem. I mean, the position was very equal. I probably should have just gone here. But I wanted to sacrifice something because it's fun. Although, I don't think I got anything in exchange for it. Oh, I got that. Left the king in the middle. Left the king in the middle. Alright, we gotta be quick here with 25 seconds. Does this work? Probably not. But maybe. I don't know. How do you stop it? Gotta run away. Gotta run away. That's interesting. I don't want your bishop. I want your king. If rook anywhere other than e1, then I would go maybe rook takes e3. Seems kind of spicy. Because then pawn takes, knight takes. I can make that check, right? Can I make this check? It's really unnecessary. I should probably just go check and take this. But I didn't want like a rook coming to h1 or something. So my plan is if takes, I'm going to go check. Right, I was going to go check takes. King. No, let me just get this queen. But otherwise, rook takes e3 covered a lot of ground there. Where's... Oh, my goodness. Oh! Wait, what? I missed this? I really missed that. Oh my goodness. Why king c4? I was like, let me defend my bishop. And I missed that it opened the rook onto my other rook. Whoops. Okay. Whoops. It happens. Also got to manage my time a little bit better there. I berserked and then but they got me. They got me. That king was on the run and I did not track it down. But, I mean, that certainly should have been winning. I had a queen for just a rook and knight there, and I think I had a couple pawns. But they got me. Gotta go get your breakfast. What time zone are you in? I am in New York. It is 10:53 p.m. An Owens defense. Oh, maybe we can get a reverse. Oh, I want to sacrifice this. I'm kind of just curious what your gambit is. Yeah, congrats to whoever beat me there. They got me. They totally got me. I'm not sure my opponent has a super coherent plan. I think bishop g5 is a good move. I think knight d5 is a good move. I think pawn takes d6 there's absolutely nothing wrong with. My plan here was like c6. I was going to go bishop b5, but I'm a little bit second guessing myself because I'm getting that rook on the other end because of just queen d7, and it was probably a really bad choice. Otherwise, I could just go queen takes d6 and trade everything. I don't know if I have anything better to do than that. Let's go queen b3. Let's go takes, and let's keep some guys on the board. Let's keep some guys on the board if we can. Bishop c4 is interesting. Takes and take that knight. But I'll just back up and keep bishop c4 in tow. Oh, I should have backed up here. Yeah, they had... good point. They could trade queens. Alright, we just got an equal endgame. That could have gone better. Alas. I did get to double those pawns, which seems good. Let's now bring all our pieces into the fight. Rook d6 seems like kind of an in-your-face move. This seems a little in-your-face, but let's go to a6. Seems annoying. Maybe bishop b7 and I could take it. Otherwise, they could drive my rook away. Wouldn't be the end of the world. Let's get them both in. And maybe something like that. If we can. Would probably be good. Otherwise, what's my other idea? Oh, pawn? Well, then I have to deal with this, right? That's now hanging. Or it was hanging before. The knight alone couldn't defend it. Takes. We're covering this. I'm not sure if he notices. He did notice. Very little time again. Oh! There we go. I was pretty fortunate that was there. I'm not sure if I could have done that in 6 seconds. Hang on one moment. Okay. Alright, that'll probably be my last berserk for the moment. Okay, these tournament pairings are closed. What we'll probably do is join a new arena. We will join a new arena. You guys want me to play 3-0 or 5-0? Or King's Pawn Game Bullet Arena? Cast your votes now. Can I look at Bush Gambit from the Black Mardeemer? Is Bush Gambit? Yeah, you can see the green screen. I could turn on... I think, honestly, I'm having so much better success right now with YouTube servers than I was with the Twitch servers. I don't know. I kept thinking it was my fault, and I kept editing things about my setup, but I'm having no frame rates drops, nothing, no lag. This is so much better. I'm going to increase the quality. How about that? See my beautiful face a little clearer. And if we continue to have no issues, I will turn on the green screen. But right now I only have the green screen on for recordings. 5-0? If anybody wants a different one, let me know. So... the Bush Gambit from the Black Mardeemer, I don't actually know what that is. So, Bush made a new Gambit without gas? No, the only results I'm seeing here when I search Bush Gambit are Bush Gas Gambit. I don't know if that's just tailored to me. But, I wonder what people are saying about the Bush Gas Gambit on Reddit and such. So I don't really know what that refers to, but let me know. If you want, I will check that out for you and give you my thoughts. No, wait, I need to shrink it this way. There we go. Yeah, I might turn on the green screen if we continue to have no frame issues. But right now, so we join this arena. We are currently the highest rated in this arena. And we might have our first YouTube live arena win. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I am the Gambit man. I play Gambits, and I teach you guys how to play them. And they're very often brand new ones that your opponent doesn't know, which is kind of the idea. And you can find all those repertoires on my channel and on my link tree in a more sorted way. What's the Hubsch Gambit?
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
So,
2, 1.
does it just refer to the knight capture? Because if so, I covered that in my original. I'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, we're playing number 2 in the arena. Let's not berserk. Oh, might be a good opportunity to get in Yan Yan? No. He says no. He says he wants a French. Okay, maybe we can still get a Yan Yan. No. He says he wants this little setup. I think a6 is kind of a useless move in the French. So that's kind of what I'm baking on here. I don't think this is a very helpful move. I think what I could try to do here is kind of hold a really ironclad center. So my knight had no future here anyway. Couldn't go to these squares. So we're going to support this. And yeah, what I like here is even just playing f4. So f6 will do nothing. And d4 I can hold solidly. And I think we can just form like a really, really strong center. That's kind of going to be my goal. Yeah, even knight f5 won't scare me because I have d4 very well protected. c4 might be a little bit annoying. It's probably fine, honestly. c4, I'll just come back. He didn't even want to do it. I like my knight on c2, honestly. I think it's pretty well positioned. I think it stops knight b4. I think there's no threats here. Okay, so knight b4 now doesn't scare me. I'll trade. Of course. Sorry, I'm eating a lot of carrots. They're really good. Of course, I don't want to allow this trade, right? My light square bishop is my most valuable piece with my dark square pawns. So, I don't want to allow that. What I'm happy to do is trade dark square bishops. And I'm also happy I made that move twice. That also feels like a win for me. And so here I'll just castle. I'll go knight takes d2. I mean, I could trade queens, but I have no particular interest. So my opponent's trying to trade light square bishops, which makes a lot more sense because their light square bishop is their bad bishop with their light square pawns. I want to trade not that, but I can't really dodge it. So should figure out something clever here. Okay. F2. I don't quite trap it in any of these lines. So we're probably just going to play the solid b3 and accept having to go queen takes d3. So we managed. Bishop b5 was a good move. Because, or else I would have had this light square bishop against that one, and my bishop would have been much, much better. Question here is, do I go g4? I'm honestly leaning yes. I feel like they can't really get me. Maybe I can get them. You know what I'm going to do, though? I'm going to play rook c1. I'm going to cut off long castle for them. So if they play h5, right, which they could to stop g4, but then they're in a situation where what do you do with your king? Because you can't long castle because I put my rook here. And you probably don't want to short castle with your pawn on h5. So they do short castle, and this is kind of what I wanted, because now I'm going to play g4. What I didn't want was g4 and then them to castle and get safe over here, and then us to be on opposite sides with me having exposed. So here comes 97, and now I'll play f5. So I'm just going to go at them, because I don't really fear for my king's safety so much, because I don't think any of these pieces are in any position to get my king. So I'm happy to just go get you. So now my question is between f6 and f takes e6 and hg5. I think both of them are really good. I think between them, I like better f takes e6. Just because of it has a pretty immediate threat. So first, I didn't want this rook to get distracted with the recapture over here. I care more about the f-file than the c-file. And now here comes an hg5, which has a couple threats on h7 and e6. So that's the reason I chose f takes e6. Otherwise, I would have chosen f6, which was also very strong. And here, well, so queen h3, there's just h6. I think we're going to stick with knight takes e6. Why not? Free pawn. Did I have better? Queen h3, if my pawn were on g2, would have been nice. Of course, at this point, I'd love to just put my pawn back on g2. Because then h6, I would have then taken this way. So queen retreats back to e7, and now we're between a couple moves here. I also have queen f5. We've got a few good options. Yeah, let's just choose the simple knight c5, I believe. Oh, that was probably very stupid. I think there's knight takes e5 now. I should have just gone here. Or queen f5. Knight takes e5. I will play queen f5. I'm not too sure what's going on. I'm attacking the rook. But I definitely didn't see it. I definitely didn't see it. My other goal was queen g5. I do want to answer with queen f5. I'm happy to just trade queens in a situation like this because I've gotten my pawn, and I feel like now my king is less safe than theirs. So they do go for this. And I'll go with queen f5, attacking their rook. Rook f8 will lose because I'm just going to trade everything on f8 and then go d takes e5. Why did I choose f5 over knight g5? Knight g5 attacking h7. I guess there was g6, which kind of maybe limited f5 a lot. Although, instinctively I played f5 right away because I didn't want them to play f5. So, but knight g5 is a good point because if they played f5 in that position, or at minimum I had en passant takes. So you're right, I should have considered knight g5. Because g6, f5, take, queen takes f5, I think would have won. Here, can I win with rook e1? Will this win the game? Rook e1. Oh, I totally missed this. I totally missed this. Oh my goodness gracious. I totally missed it. Wow. That was bad. That was pretty bad. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty lost. What can I try? Keep fighting. Queen d4, knight d7. Oh yeah, they just have this. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that was pretty poorly played on my part. That was pretty poorly played, and I'd like to have that one back. So, I think this was well played up until here. And it was, per the engine's analysis. Yeah, credit to my opponent. So this is about plus 1.6. And you know what? I really doubted myself because this was a mistake and it's plus 3. Just not rook e1. The move was this. Just trying to get an extra pawn. Takes there was queen f8. Otherwise, the knight needs to move now, and then I take here. So wow, black's really lost in this position. Or maybe in any position that I just kind of defend my knight and attack their knight. Now threatening queen takes d5. So, oh, the other cool trick about this is that knight f7, which would have maybe threatened like queen e3 check and such, here would lose due to this nice little trick with knight d8 at the end. So, yeah, everything was good up until then. You know what? You were totally right about knight g5. This was +2, and this was plus 0.1. So yeah, f5 here was a little rash owing to takes, and f6, which keeps black safe. Generally, this is like kind of an achievement, but this knight does very well. Knights make great blockaders of passed pawns, and the f5 pawn is pretty annoying to defend in this situation, and I've caused no problems for black's king, but maybe some problems for my own king with this trade. So better option was knight g5, threatening mate on h7 first, and what I said here when talking about it was I played f5 immediately because I didn't want black to play f5. I didn't want, like, if I do nothing, f5, and then what am I doing here? I didn't, like, achieve anything with the mobilization of my pawns. But knight g5 asks a really uncomfortable question for black about how to guard checkmate. Because if you go knight g6, now f5 comes with a threat. And this seems very, very serious because, like, takes, knight now needs to move. Now f6 comes, again threatening mate, and now really tearing open the black king side in exactly the way we imagined. And you can imagine here, like, I'll take g7, I'll slide my king out the way, so my king's relatively safe, and then the rooks will cook down these files. Otherwise, g6 is also not really helpful. Oh, there's queen h3, which is even better, threatening mate this way as well, and g takes h5. So the g4 pawn can really be helpful, and f5 wasn't the only idea. But credit to my opponent, who found some good resources there and took advantage of my mistakes, certainly. Am I taking challenges? Well, I'm playing this arena right now, but yeah, actually, I'm happy to take challenges. Send me on Lichess. Hello, Tristan Johnson. Hello, Blake. Walter Brownstone. Hello, everyone. Am I reviewing game submissions? I'll review them probably. There's a greater chance I'll review them if they're one of my gambits from my channel. Otherwise, nonetheless, I'm happy to have a look at them. But make sure you subscribe on YouTube first, and then I'm happy to have a look at anything. So here, we're in a kind of interesting situation. I could fishing pole my bishop, which is an option. The other option is just to play bishop h5, castle long, and then to get him with g5, g4, which is kind of an idea I'd love to demonstrate. We might do that. Do I think the Bushgas will become as well known as the Stafford? It's a good question, as I consider between a couple good options here. This is just a free pawn, is it not? But I want to play knight d4. I want to try and double this. I don't know. They have bishop e2. They're okay. Well, bishop e2. Yeah, they're okay. I think as far as the Bushgas Stafford conversation goes, part of me wants to say I hope not, because what happened to the Stafford, I mean, you can look now in the Lichess database, e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, knight takes e5. Knight c6 is literally more common than d6, right? It's literally more common than the mainline Petrov. So every single person who plays knight takes e5, you got to assume, as my opponent just gives me this, knows the Stafford and knows what to do against it. And that's kind of the issue. You know, like, the big advantage of the stuff was that it wasn't really known. So, can we get him that way? In the G4. H2. And so, yeah, I mean, you can just tell anyone, okay, play knight c3, and after bishop c5, play h3, and then that kind of kills a lot of the fun. It is difficult for me to cause, because all I would have here is a bunch of checks, right? But now we start using this rook a little bit, and it's funny because if you can't take it, then my opponent's pieces are tied down to the defense of f3 if they can't move this pawn owing to my rook here. Although this is a good idea on their part. What I would love to do is open this f file. That trade would be great for me. And then I could attack this pawn, which is a little humorous. Ah, or not. Alright, maybe we just need to come back. Oh, I could have maybe taken this bishop. That maybe would have been smart. My time is getting real low. I berserked this game. And kind of forgot about it again. So something I'm going to try to do is push this. Didn't get that freedom that I wanted. This is my next idea. Whoops. Can't take a phone call right now. Let's go this way. There we go. Oh. We can oh my goodness, I thought they were gonna pre-move prank me. Oh, they pre-move pranked me a different way with bishop e1 here. Wow, I did not expect bishop e1 if they never played e6, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought they were going to throw in an e6 here before I promoted, but I should have just promoted. Okay, tough one. All right, time to get serious. Time to get serious and win this arena. Why can't I go back to the tournament? The time strikes again. All right, we're going to be a little bit faster, especially if we berserk. Oh, sorry. Okay. I do have some challenges. Can I... Oh, I'd have to resign. Okay. I will get to those challenges right after this game. And I promise I'll win this one. What's up, Brian? Thanks for joining. How do I deal with b5 in the von Hennig? So d4, d5... Or sorry, e4, c6, d4, d5, knight c3 takes... Bishop c4, I guess you're talking about b5 right there. I would just go bishop b3. I guess the one concern of being on b3 as opposed to c4, and I think I faced this before, is that if they play e6, shutting in their bishop, then it's a little harder to reroute to this long diagonal. I guess that's something you just got to take. I mean, the other option in that situation would be bishop e2. As I'm just thinking about this now, f3 and bishop takes f3 to try and get him on that potentially weak diagonal. It can be either. It can be either. I promise you I will play Gambits for my channel. So if you have prep against that, show me. You meant as a video. Yes, I have actually recorded. I forgot I haven't done a Gambit Genius in a while, it's true, regrettably. I've recorded 2 more. So they are coming imminently. And I promise to revive that series because I really liked that series. I did. Sorry, I was just overwhelmed with some things. But yes, the Gambit Genius series, for those who don't know, as my opponent finds some good resources here. Throw this in. Hoping for bishop e7, then I have this. Oh yeah, that's a nice check. And very problem causing. I think they were okay. I mean, they've got some solid knights here. If maybe queen c7, I don't know how I would have broken through. Otherwise, this looks good. Let's take this, and maybe I'll get rid of that bishop. It's a good one. It is a good one. My knight's also good, though. Okay, let's just take it. Something I kind of want to do is maybe go here. Maybe queen h5. Seems interesting. I kind of thought I would have knight e4 here, and I just don't. So, might not have been that smart. Alright, we gotta be faster. We've got to be faster. So we pin this. Seems good, maybe. I gotta watch out for queen c5 check, and I think I'm giving myself some problem. Oh, there's just takes hitting the queen. And my bishop hangs. Oh, they missed it. Okay. But, wow. Yeah, takes would have attacked my queen, and then they could have taken the bishop next turn. So that was not a move I could have just thrown in. Alright, what am I gonna do here with my second chance at life? f5 seems very compelling. And indeed, it's threatening f6. Yeah, that seems good. That seems good. I think we got away with one here. Oh, and that's even check and with the pin. So, yeah, seems good. Seems good. All right. So, let's accept some challenges. Alright, Scarecrow Kid. The Scarecrow Kid. So make sure to mute my stream right now on YouTube. Mute. Good luck. Alright. Am I familiar with Will Taylor chess? I'd be happy to collab. I'm always happy to do collabs with other streamers. All right. Good luck, Mr. Scarecrow Kid. I wasn't lying when I said that I will be playing my repertoire. I hope he has something excellent prepared here. I hope it's with knight takes e5. Ah. All right. Italian game it is. Symmetrical structure it is. That's fine. If we get a castle here... Alright. We can play for a bit of an edge here. As my opponent does not castle. I was going to say, if they castle, I was going to go g5, g4 and try to attack and go this way. Or what I'm going to do there is trade a knight a5, which I know gets rid of this bishop before they had a chance to play a3. So... yeah, I got to take it or else they were going to move it. And... I guess we just play chess here with a bishop for a knight. And we try to win. Okay, my opponent's going for it, though, with g4. Which I respect. I was going to try to get him with d5. And try to open the middle. What do we think? Knight h7 kind of stops g5, but seems a little passive to me. Yeah, let's just try to open the middle. Let's just try to open the middle. What time is it for you? For me, it is 11:25 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States in New York City. I like streaming on YouTube. This is my first ever stream on YouTube, guys. I had just streamed on Twitch before, and I don't know why I haven't done this before. I think the servers are great. So you might see me here very often. Alright, queen c5 seems like a good spot. Defends this and maybe can sneak in. So like g5 takes, knight takes g5, for example. I can win that knight. So this seems good. They still probably want to go g5. One idea I have is a5, a4. F6 potentially to stop g5, although this feels a little desperate. Okay, I like f6. It's solid. It also defends this. Dark square pawns fit well with the light square bishop. And now, okay, with a takes b3, I think that is an invitation for me to open that up. So I'm excited about this. Although they do have d4 as a center punch. They're not interested in that. They're interested in attacking. That makes two of us. a4, b4. They can execute the push past rule, which I don't want to deal with. a4, b4, I want to have an opportunity to go like a3 in a situation like that. So what to do? Do I go b5, b4 just to go a4? I think... Okay, I'll go here. If c3 right now, I'm going to go back queen b6. Otherwise, a4, b4, a3 I want. So, for example, let's say knight f5. I'm going to go takes, takes, then a4. I expect them to deny the pawn trade that would open this file of death. But my idea is that I want to respond with a3, and then if b3 there, I would have queen a1 checkmate. But now I want to attack this. And I think I can. I think I can force c4 here as I develop with tempo, attacking b3, which seems a little soft. So c4... I wish I had like another piece, like a knight. But I don't. a4, b4, a3, b3, a2, rook a1. They can kind of stop it a little bit. If I play c5, I guess they have rook a1, right? c5, rook a1. Alright, let's just play a4. So b4, a3. I mean, this seems good. It seems good to have this pawn. It's got to be good. Let's go here. Alright, I only have 25 seconds. Why does this keep happening? Why am I so slow? Oh, check! Nice. Gotta look at the whole board, and that resource came out of nowhere. So we are winning now, but not on the clock. So let's pick up the pace there. This would be a good trade for me to open up that file. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about this, and I think maybe my pieces can coordinate. Maybe should I target d3? Okay, maybe I'll trade this. And I think I can just pick up that pawn without too much trouble. Although they might have some fast pawns. I think my pawns are faster. No, I've messed this up. What's happening? They can play b7. I have to lose that to not lose the game. Oh, I needed bishop e8 here. But I'm going to flag. I am going to flag here. Ah. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Good game. Good game. Willing to play another if you'd like. Okay, we'll play one more. Are we having server issues right now? On YouTube? Is everyone's connection okay? My opponent plays e6 out of an Alakine, which is certainly not common. But yeah, that last game, oh, b5. This is almost like a, there was this gambit that Eric Rosen had. Oh, something. But not quite, because it's with these moves, and I can just castle away from queen a5 check. Oh, O'Sullivan, I believe, but I don't think it's that good because I'm just winning this. Seems okay now. That's good. Okay, good. Keep me posted, because I can always like drop the quality or something like that. It's only when I was talking about how good the servers are. All right, I'll stop talking about that. All right, somehow I think I just kind of won an exchange this game. I'm not really sure how. But bishop c6, I just have 3. And otherwise, things seem pretty good, to be honest. I have rook d1 if bishop c6 to cause some problems that way. But yeah, so that last game, I think, well, it was a 3-0 game, and I don't think I treated it like a 3-0 game. I think I took a lot of time there. I think my position was certainly better, and I started making some very uncomfortable attacking things, but then I won the knight, and my opponent did very well to create a pawn race, which I just shouldn't have allowed. It shouldn't have been a race at all, because I was just a piece ahead, right? Let's play f3 here to just stymie any threats. And an interesting idea to sacrifice king g7 and bishop g5 might be good. It's not necessary, but it seems fun. Something I can also do is try to come in that way. But this seems good. Maybe bishop f6. It's not mate at all. There's king h6. I don't know why. This would have been a checkmating idea. The line I played was just not a smart one. Queen b6 check. At least I won't lose my rook. Ah, takes. Because now and then I'll have bishop f6 and rook h8. b6. However, there are certain downsides to this. It'll be okay. Yeah, it'll be okay. Yeah, they have to go queen b6 check, or else if they recapture, I will go bishop f6 and rook to h8 checkmate. So queen b6 check. At least we made this one interesting. I'll have to move my king, then they take here. Oh, that wasn't necessary. That was not necessary. Hello, Mr. Ben Prevor. Yeah, YouTube stream is going great. These servers are awesome, and we have no issues. We can have a look at this game. You can return to stream. We can have a look at this game against the Scarecrow Kid. Great game, sir. So this was the like O'Sullivan Gambit almost that Eric Rosen recommended. I remember seeing that video of his a few years ago. I believe it came from this position. It came from this position. And with knight f3 e6, I think is an important difference, because kind of the key of the O'Sullivan is that you're threatening queen a5 check to win this bishop, right? There's no knight c3 that would otherwise save white because of knight. So for example, if I just blindly go here, queen a5 check is now winning the bishop because there's knight takes c3. But when you include these moves, knight f3 and e6 that had happened, then when c5 was played in the game, I'm just able to castle out of this. So there was really, otherwise here, like, I have to kind of deal with this in maybe like a little bit of an annoying way, while also dealing with the pressure to d4. So I think that's the key difference. And so otherwise, I was denied the opportunity for a dummy gambit, but yeah, knight c6 just allowed me to take the rook here. And my queen sacrifice was probably pretty bad. Yeah, I went from plus 4.4 to plus 2.5. But this wasn't even the best move. I should have taken like this. Takes, yeah, so check and takes here. Yeah, so my idea was, yeah, bishop f6 check and rook h8. But yes, as the engine indicates, there's check and taking this bishop. And then this becomes less than clear, especially if I kind of just mind my own business, and then this queen comes in, and, you know, I'm up a lot of material, yeah, but the queen can be like a one-woman wrecking ball when it's kind of uncontested like this, and at minimum can maybe give perpetual check. So, you know, you really got to be careful to keep that out. And now your white's task of winning is just much harder than if I had just kind of done something normal, like just kind of move my queen here. So rook d8 was a great bait move, certainly. But I was able to land takes and checkmate. Good flag against me in that prior game. Definitely. Do I have something against the queen's gambit as black? Yes. I have a brand new video, actually, against the queen's gambit as black. d4, well, unless you mean specifying with d5. So, here, I have a brand new video recommending a6, knight c3, c5, d5, and now b5. I call it the Graif Banco. So it's a little bit of a delayed Banco, but it tricks them into the worst line white can play against the Banco, which is with knight takes b5. And here after e6, there's all sorts of problems for white, actually, that they have to deal with. So the reason it's so tricky move order-wise is because if you kind of played a regular Banco, so c5, d5 is a great response in general if you're hit from the center like this, d5 with these supported. b5 is the general Banco gambit, and now here knight c3 is considered just like not a great move to defend b5. It's much better to really just take this pawn and then keep your development normal. Yeah, so you can kind of trick them with the move order by playing the one I recommended there. The other thing I have, the other fun gambit I have on my channel is in the Budapest, with here e5 takes knight g4 attacking here. They defend, we attack, they defend, and now 99% of Budapests go with like bishop c5 or bishop b4 check, and then they like block that with one of these moves, right? And then you play queen e7 and get that back. The move I have recommended, though, is with f6. f6 is a particularly fun one because most people will take it after the pressure here. And after queen takes f6, we're attacking here, and the bishop's going to come out with like bishop to b4 check. We're going to maybe sacrifice the second pawn with d5. We're going to castle. So, yeah, it's not that easy for white to deal with all the threats. Note boom is also certainly a valid option out of the Slav. c6, and with ideas of playing d takes c4 and defending that pawn. It is not a gambit, but it is a good line, certainly. Can they play knight f3 against it? So, I mean, yes, they can play knight f3 at any moment. You can still play c5 and b5, although it loses its luster a little bit if you're not attacking a knight. Otherwise, the best, like the most objective way to make good sense of this a6 move is to play like e6, and then, you know, okay, they do something, e3, g3, you're saying, now d5. a6 makes a lot of sense because it helps with the idea of d takes c4, and then playing b5. Whether or not there's a bishop recapturing here, d takes c4 and b5 makes a lot of sense, and can make, you know, this pawn chain can make it very annoying for white to get their pawn back. So a6 makes play b5. So we can always make good use of this a6 move, and it's pretty tricky. It's pretty tricky, and I have a whole video explaining that and the full repertoire on that. In fact, why don't we get some more games? I see I have another challenge, Bullet Viper, except to a 5-0 game. Good luck. B5 seems dangerous. Yeah, it is dangerous for white. Bush gas. Maybe my opponent's prepared. Bullet Viper is provisionally rated in Blitz, so they are truly a Bullet Viper. Maybe he doesn't know the Bush gas Gambit, which is also fun. Ooh, thinks for a while, then plays knight takes e5. I wonder who's playing mind games here, as we unsheath the Gambit glasses for the first time this stream. Let's go. Gambit glasses on. Bush gas activated. This is fun. This is a fun one. All right, takes, D takes. So, yes, with the Bush gas Gambit, this looks a lot like the Stafford, right? This position would be the Stafford. We would have played knight f6 instead, but bishop c5 is a move you play all the time in the Stafford regardless. And with this move order, we keep another option to play f5 before knight f6. And there's a fun line here with c3, queen h4, attacking here and here, queen f3, queen h6 to keep d4 off the table by attacking this bishop. That's fun stuff, but maybe I'll cover that at the end of this. Knight c3 is a good move because knight f6 would be a Stafford transposition, but h3 is the standard refutation of the Stafford. So instead, I'm going to play f5. I'm going to play the Bush gas specialty. So this is where it differs from the Stafford because we have an opportunity to play f5 and thus strike it. Let's castle. My microphone. It's on. Oh. Okay, sorry that my mic cut. I think it might be back now. I think what happened was the wire sometimes gets a little loose. Can you guys hear me? I don't know what the last thing you heard was. Okay, good. So all right, bishop d4 seems compelling. I think just queen d2. I think takes, knight takes, queen b2 would certainly be what the engine wants. Because in that case, takes, I can get my pawn back via a very roundabout way. Although it's certainly not my first choice. Another option is like bishop d4, b5, b4. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play bishop b4. They might just castle and let me get this pawn, but I'm hoping for queen d2, and then I want to take on e4. Okay, great. Sorry about that. The green button, the green light, I think was on the whole time, which is a little bit confusing, but I just adjusted the wire. The green light is supposed to indicate when it's on and when it's not. Queen d2 does defend here anyway, so I'm not really sure why I did this, actually. I really don't know why that happened. And how I can detect that in the future. Okay, what to do with this? Let's just play bishop e6. Queen g6 was also compelling there to stop castles owing to rook takes f3. But I think in general here, our pieces are doing a good job. I'm not sure bishop b4 was worth my time because it was also good on this diagonal, and I had other pieces that really needed developing. But I think in general things are fine. I think after castles, something I want to do is queen g6 and try to use all the files that I can. Oh, like rook d8, there's queen e3. Okay. Queen e5, queen e3. Bishop. Yeah, I think queen e5 is a great move. I think that's a great spot for the queen because it has a very secret threat, which is bishop d6. And then if I'm threatening mate on h2, then g3 is the only way to stop it, which would lose this bishop. And rook takes f3 is something I'm considering in general, but I think this is a great spot for the queen. And if queen e3, yeah, I wanted to support bishop c5. I was about to say that. I wanted to support this move in particular, because otherwise I thought the queen on e3 actually defends a lot. Like rook d8, queen e3 was a good response. Queen g6, queen e3, also a good response. But here I can knock the queen off this post. And yeah, I was about to say maybe I should have played bishop c4 first. Bishop d6, g3. Okay. Let's play b5, threatening bishop c4. And this seems to continue to keep white on the back foot and not really be able to patch things up. That rook is now going to have to move. You can't play b3 because this knight will hang. And this is strong. I think they missed this. But even if they saw it, it was tough. Because if the rook moves, bishop c4, queen e1, rook takes f3, I almost would have rather that happened, actually. So I think our pieces now are doing great jobs. Oh, so that's now actually going to be trapped. And, ooh, let's apply, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so white's pieces are just not in any position to defend here, and these bishops are cooking. Capital C cooking. I have a couple wins here. One of them is check and queen to f4, and I think there's almost no defense on f3, because queen d1, I don't have rook d8. No one defends on d8. Okay, the most straightforward is just bishop d6. Attacking h2, and I don't think there's any defense. f4, I just take it. e5, I take that as well. And then I checkmate. I think, and then I just checkmate. I think it's really that simple. The rook can't even move to create a square. And wow, those, oh my, these bishops were good. These bishops were good, yeah. So the f5 line is really all about opening these diagonals and opening these files. Okay, wait, the game's not over. I have takes king f3, check king g4. What do we got? And rook f4. Yeah, let's use all our pieces. And with the bishop guarding that square and king e3, I somehow didn't even see that. But we have queen f4 and c5. And the king walks all the way there. Nice. Good game. Good game there, Mr. Bullet Viper. That was a good defense. Oh my god. Sound is off? Are we back? Hello, hello? Not off. Okay. Good. So, yes. So, we had a bush gas. They took on e5, knight c6. Takes d takes c6. So, with d takes c6, that's the whole idea of bush gas and Stafford capture. We open this bishop, and we open the queen. And particularly by opening the queen, we stop d4 right away, and knight c3. So this is actually a very important moment that it's not the Stafford. Because if it were the Stafford, and this is just a transposition to this position, then there's h3 here. And h3 is just the easiest way to refute the Stafford and to not even allow a magical variation or anything like that. because white here just has everything defended. Queen d4, there's just really queen f3, and I just don't have access to the square. And white's just fine. They can probably just prepare a castle that way with d3 and bishop e3. So you have to create more problems in their position, and you do that with f5. f5 before knight f6. So my opponent plays d3, which d3, it's not quite the most common move. Bishop c4 is the most common move, but that can't be good. Yeah, there's just bishop takes f2 check and queen d4, and we're no longer even down a pawn here. So d3 is the most common good move. Knight f6, bishop to g5 is another most common move played by my opponent. h6, takes, and my opponent now correctly does not play the most common move, which is queen f3, which would have actually invited this nice move, bishop to a3. Yes, so it was a tricky bishop h3 that option that game. I assume you mean bishop a3. So almost. If they play queen f3, then there's actually no good defending b2 here. This is a nice little trick and a good thing to watch out for. Yeah, takes. There's queen takes c3 check, attacking the rook and the king. And otherwise, yeah, castles does not help. Takes, and there's a pin. So, I mean, it's a really fun move in general, and we're undermining this knight. And if, like, here, we can just take this and come up ahead. So bishop a3 is kind of a nasty move in this circumstance when white has just no protection, again, on the dark squares. I think with bishop e2, which was a good move, realizing, I think most people play queen f3 to shield f2, not realizing that the knight does an excellent job in this position. So I can't take. And bishop a3, it's an option, but I think, can white just go here? They can. It's an option, and then we can just kind of keep playing like this with an awkward kind of bishop just hanging out. I guess white can now just make this trade, maybe if they want to, or maybe just some knight move, and I would have to deal with this. But yeah, with the queen over here to defend, I don't have queen f3. Okay, so bishop h3 as an option later in the game. Let's have a look. So bishop e2, I played castles, and bishop f3 was played. So castles here is fine for white, and in general, white should be castling as soon as they can, with the rook now defending f2. Bishop f3 was played, and I played bishop b4. The best move was bishop a3. The best move was bishop a3 to cause problems on this king that is still in the middle. Yeah, so there's no knight takes because of bishop takes b2. What a funny resource this is. Bishop takes is not possible because the rook is not here yet. So pawn takes is the only one. And then bishop g4. Wow, really taking advantage of the king in the center. That would have been a nice idea. That would have been a really nice idea. Really take advantage of the king in the center. Like, if you're castling, your opponent isn't, strike right away before giving them a chance. And bishop a3 and takes e4 was the way to do it. The way to get to that move, and I sort of had the right idea, was I realized I want to take e4 here without knight takes e4. And so my solution to that was the much more small-brained bishop b4. I'm like, I'm just going to pin here, and then after queen d2, I'm going to take. But the reason why this configuration for the bishop and queen is so much better than this configuration is because here the queen is defending f2, and I don't have this nice move bishop to g4. So the Giga Brain was bishop a3. So bishop a3, now that's a great way, even better than bishop b4. I mean, this is very difficult resource to find, but it stops knight takes e4 because of the pressure here, and now we're able to hit him with bishop g4 and the pressure on f2. So bishop b4 was not the right way to do that, and my opponent defends successfully. In fact, bishop takes e4 is even possible owing to the queen's defense here, and next they can castle. Before bishop a3, does bishop takes f2 work? No. The knight here makes it just a great, like, this is just a great recapture. Like, it defends all the important things. Like, it's just a knight in the center, hits a lot of squares. Yeah, so bishop b4 was played here, queen d2 takes, pawn takes. Yeah, so bishop takes was a little bit better, because with pawn takes, you kind of keep this bishop in a bit of an awkward spot. Not the best spot. Bishop takes e4, and the bishop's actually kind of cooking, and with castle's next turn, I'm kind of lacking targets, and I really just have a bishop pair in exchange for this extra pawn. Brian, thank you for the game. Thinks b4, only annoying move I haven't found a solid response to. Usually after bishop b3. Thank you, thank you. So let's continue having a look here. D takes e4, so we continue development, castles, and so this is just a kind of a regular position where this is kind of a success of f5. Right? This is kind of a success of f5. This is everything you want. You got the bishop pair. You got kind of an uncomfortable bishop for them. You've got, like, the knight tied down. You've got a huge development advantage. And most importantly with this bishop pair is it's a wide open position. That's where bishops, and particularly both of them together controlling all the colors and x-raying and everything, that's where bishops really thrive. Just a wide open position. I have no pawns in the middle of the board, and just lots of diagonals to cook with, and lots of files for my rooks as well. So this is exactly what you're looking for here. And rook to d8, as I mentioned, just would have been a totally fine move, because queen e3, I could have played queen e5 in that position, and then prepared bishop to c5 and bishop to c4. And in fact, like you're talking about a situation where like this queen could even get like trapped, because that's how well these bishops are just and rooks are controlling lots of important squares in the middle of the board. I played queen e5 first in preparation for queen e3, just to have bishop c5, because with queen e5, I feel like I'm threatening rook takes f3, or I feel like I'm at least putting that on the table. A better option for white would be getting the bishop off of this very awkward f3 square. And then here would have continued with this, and white here has this resource queen g3 to try and trade rooks. Although maybe I can invade rook d2, so this position's already a little bit better for black. In fact, it's minus 0.7 after even just into this endgame. So queen to e3 was played, but bishop to c5 is a great resource. My bishop came to b4, now comes back to c5. This queen gets knocked around a little bit. Queen e2, b5, another nice resource here. And white is really kind of out of options, as this is now a -2 position. Bishop to c4 is coming, and there's no b3 to stop it, and white's pieces here are a little bit misplaced. This bishop should be really anywhere else. It's kind of like awkwardly not really defending f2, because I have sacrifices for it maybe at any moment, so like that in itself has to be defended, which is not what you want from your only bishop on the board. And a3 was played. b4 was not my idea. Bishop to c4 was my idea. But like I said, even if this were to move, I play bishop c4. Yeah, the engine's recommending rook d3. I guess this is just that good. Just takes and rook f8, and God, these bishops are killer. We're just going to take f3. Bishop to d6 is on the table to get him here. This rook can swing around, and some serious checkmating ideas with these pieces just not in good shape. And this is everything you want from your bishop pair in a situation like this. I take f3, bishop to d6 was also possible, but I take f3, and now bishop to d6 with checkmate kind of incoming here, and we got him. So a good game here, and I think this is a good demonstration in general of f5 in the bush gas. I mean, the point of f5 in the bush gas here is you want to make this pawn trade, and you want to just open things up for your bishops, for your rooks, and from there you just kind of want to make threats, and I was able to just control a lot of squares and make threats all over the board. Thank you. 1560 USCF, how to improve middle games? Good question. I mean, the number one thing, as I always say, is tactics. Most games end one way or the other. Either you tactic them or they tactic you. So a great way to spend your time, if you don't have 20 minutes to play an online rapid game and review it, is to just be grinding tactics and looking at your tactics rating. Otherwise, there's not always a tactic in every position, right? But you want to look for tactical elements, like any opening onto the king, any piece that's unprotected, right? So for example, like show me boom, 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 boom. Black to play and win, right? There's queen h4 check and winning this bishop. Bishop's unprotected, which is the first thing I noted in the position, and there's an opening onto the king. Actually, the bishop unprotected would be the second thing I noted in the position, the opening onto the king, right? So there's queen h4 check winning that, which is something you can put together. So looking for tactical elements of pieces being unprotected and openings onto the king would be kind of the biggest thing in the way to spot tactics. And by doing a lot of tactics, you'll really train that vision and to look for that in every position automatically, even when there's not a tactic, even when you don't know if there's a tactic. And in general, if there's not, right, which is what I was about to say, if there's not, what you want to do is just improve your worst piece. So if your king's safe, assuming your king's safe, your opponent's king's safe, there's nothing crazy going on, right? So like here, like boom, whatever, boom, 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 right? Here. Like I want to be improving my worst pieces. So I want to continue to improve my position. And once I get everything out, if I have nothing to do at that point, I have nothing to attack, there's nothing really going on, the next thing I want to do with my great position, like let's say I'm able to achieve this, I go here, right? The next thing I want to do with my great position is I want to look to your king. That's what I want to do. So like something I might start thinking about with my rooks is maybe to play, Something I might start thinking about with my rooks is maybe to play e4. Maybe I play bishop to d6 to open that up. I play knight to g4. I bring my queen out. Something like this to attack. So if in doubt, move your worst piece. All right, all right. You suck at endgames. I mean, if you can win before the endgame, that's kind of the best. Otherwise, should we play 3-0, 5-0? King's Pawn Game Super Blitz Arena. What's this? It's with Queen H5. That's not fun. I don't want to do that. Let's just play a 5-0 arena as we continue chatting. You got 6th at Chicago Summer Open U1700, and you won with the Von Popiel. Congratulations. Submit that to Weekly Gambit Genius. I think in terms of endgames, what can I say? Endgames at large. I mean, at that level 1600
10,
US, I mean, you certainly
9,
know
8,
all the basics and everything.
7, 6,
I think
5,
the biggest
4,
misconception
3,
of
2,
endgames is that they're
1,
so
0.
different from middle games. I think in general, a lot of the same resources, same principles can apply. The biggest difference just with queens on versus queens off is with queens on the most... oh, we got a Yang Yang Gambit here. With queens on, the most important thing... maybe I'll accept now? Yeah! And I already had the Gambit glasses on. With queens on, the most important thing is king safety. With queens off, the most important thing is passed pawns. So... okay, we got a Yang Yang Gambit here. Let me focus on this against number 2 in the arena. Knight b5 you don't want to play yet, because there's just Knight d5, which covers c7 and attacks this. So what we want to do here is actually just make this trade, because rook takes d1 is actually a really nice capture. And if they take this... okay, e5 is the best move, but this is actually very difficult. This is the best move in this position, and it's really tricky. I mean, it's a really tricky find, because you're in a situation where there's almost no way to stop knight c7 owing to this control. And otherwise takes, I'm going to go check and take. And because I control here, you're not going to be able to get my knight. If you could go king d8 here then and control c7 and maybe even come right at my knight, then you'd get it for sure. But otherwise, I am taking that rook and I'm going to pop right back out and I'm going to be up in exchange. Shout out to Mr. Yang Yang. Oh, you're not the 1600. Yeah, I mean, with endgames, I mean, it depends on the strength. Like, you want to know certainly the principles of king and pawn endgames and such. Sorry. And you know, you want to know, like, maybe the bridge and how to win with, I'll go check, trade off this knight. And this seems like a very good pawn. Speaking of endgames and passed pawns. What was I saying? I keep distracting myself. I could play d6 and stop this. It seems kind of annoying given that that's definitely black's next move. But I'm probably just going to go here. It's fine. I'll just be up in exchange. We don't need the Gambit glasses when we're up in exchange, do we? See, I'm even... Like everything I'm doing right now with queens off is kind of principles I do with queens on, minus attacking the enemy king. Right? Everything I'm doing is just like, I'm just activating my pieces. I went knight c6 check to win an exchange, and then I saved my knight. Like, there was nothing so special about that other than king safety is not very important here. So, it's possible your biggest issue with endgames is in your head, I will say. Because I hear a lot of people talk about this. It's kind of annoying f6. I mean, this bishop can really kind of clog up this whole position, and I don't want that happening. So I might hit him with this, just to kind of make things a little trickier. f6, like, how would I ever dislodge that bishop, right? And then I wouldn't have any way through. Bishop g4. Then maybe I'll sit right there. Yeah, I mean, the bishop pair can be effective this way. But yeah, so with the endgames, I mean, the biggest transition is king safety is everything to passed pawns are everything. And as fewer and fewer pieces are left on the board, you know, the passed pawn is going to become more and more important. Like d7, I guess there's bishop d6. Or there's rook f6 here, I didn't even see this. And yeah, this is kind of annoying. G4 is playable. F takes, I have F takes. Just trying to stay on this diagonal. Like I said, pass pawns. Push them. And now if I can get my rook to e8, that'll just win. You're joining the arena? Awesome. Good luck. I think here we can get him with rook e1. And now threatening this. I'm not even using my other rook. This seems good. Seems pretty good right here. Yeah, they have to sacrifice. So yeah, we got him. We got him, yeah. With this, we just launched that pawn up. And it just went all the way. So takes f6. I don't think that's going to be effective. I think we can't be quite that lazy. Takes f6. Takes rook e1, e4. f6 takes. It is a little annoying. I'd love to do this and just free myself. Otherwise, how do I get my rooks out of here? I think the best bet, honestly, is just to give this exchange and keep this annoying pawn. I think that was my best bet. I kept that annoying pawn. Like, what are you going to do about it? I have this pawn on c3. You can't block my control. And what I'd like to do now is restrain these guys. There's a little 3-on-2 here. So I'd like to restrain that. If I can. This seems good. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. So, what we're going to do is maybe this. Takes king f2. Otherwise, g3. It's a little tricky what my path to winning is here. It might be taking at some moment and trying to win that king and pawn endgame. Otherwise, it's not obvious what I do if black does nothing. Because they were able to achieve this g4 move. If I were to be able to shut that down, then I think this would be easy. I think I would just go here and my king would just waltz in behind. But I don't want to be stuck. Okay, so here's g3. Okay, you can do 2. Sorry, I'm just reading chat now. I was a little behind. Delayed Schliemann was played by Prague in the candidates and featured on my channel, believe it or not. Something I want to do maybe is just come take this. I recognize that my rook will be distracted in this general direction, and then I'll have to lose this pawn, though. But at least it'll be a little bit of freedom for me. And ideally, I can get my king to... It's so annoying because this bishop can just kind of guard everything on its own color. But... yeah, so let's go takes king h4. I can win this. And they have to go g2 to make me trade here. g2 would threaten bishop h2. So I don't want to allow that. In fact, I can actually just go king h... Or they can go g1. So let me go rook g1 here. Alright. And we've cleaned up these pawns. So I've won a pawn, but the thing is my extra pawn is doubled. I don't know why this task of winning this game is so tricky. But it is. But I think we've gotten everything we wanted here. We've destroyed their little fortress. And, you know, with rook d2, I can chase that bishop onto this, which gets him. I have king f7. I have rook takes f6, which is a little more straightforward. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. All right, we got him there. I'm going to run to the bathroom. I will be back in about 30 seconds. Stay right there. All right, we're back. Let's go. What do I think about e4, e5, knight f3, bishop b4? I mean, just why not play the bush gas? Why not put the bishop on a better diagonal? Is there a point to bishop b4? What I would say to that is play the bush gas gambit. Play bishop to c5 on move 2. Alright. Alright. That was the first game I won in this arena, and someone's already won 3 games. And I've only played 1 game. So, no, we're not able to get another Yan, unfortunately. Let's play this line. This is some sharp gambiting stuff, although a little bit more of a mainstream Alapin gambit of sorts. What to do with this bishop? Let's go here. I think someday I want to do this. I want to stop knight b4. Let's get off of this queen trade, which I also don't want. Maybe I just should have allowed that and just gone rook takes d1, but I don't know. I didn't want it. What I want to do is checkmate on this diagonal. That is my dream. We will see about it. What my opponent decides to do. They're playing bishop d7. It might indicate a long castle. Nonetheless, there's a lot of useful moves I can play to finish development. Oops, I have the hiccups. Knight c3, let's just play. So, well, it's not really clear what's going on. This is a useful move, no matter what. Huh. They're running away. They are running away from me. And I thought we were just getting along. Something fun is like a4, a5. I can play knight e4, takes bishop f4. Alright, let's just go here. This knight is hanging, right? So they'll never be able to take twice on e5 because this knight will hang. Otherwise, just castle and rook c1. I'm just going to finish my development and then kind of see what to do. So they can castle either direction, and I think I'm a little bit prepared each way. How do I pick an opening before a game? What I want to do... Well, like before an online blitz game, I want to play my gambits. I pick my favorite gambit to play. So this one, I was trying to get a Yang gambit. I'm trying to make good content. I'm trying to play something fun, you know? Like for me, it's not that serious. Oh, like for example, I just missed take and takes. Like I don't know. That's not an example of anything, but I think we got him now. I think the biggest misconception around openings is that like you should have several. You shouldn't. You should have the one line that you know so well that you're sick of it, that you can play it in your sleep, that you know it better than your opponent. There's no reason to mix it up. The only reason you'd ever have to mix it up is if you have so many games in the database and people start preparing against it. Otherwise, the best opening to play is the one you know better than your opponent. That is my honest opinion. Knowing the line better than your opponent is a big advantage. Like, you'll play faster, you'll know the positions better, you might even just have a prepped win. I have here bishop c2 if I want it. There's g6. I think I'll just take. Well, maybe a pawn takes is better. What was I saying? Yeah, and you'll probably get an advantage. I mean, you're probably playing stockfish moves, unlike them. I think better than bishop c2, I'm kind of regarding this, it was knight g5 and queen h4. Let's just play queen f4 now. Can I go here and here? It's kind of unnecessary. I could just win this up a piece, kind of a normal way. But I'm going to try and checkmate them. Because why not? Get him on f7. Remind me on the Portsmouth Gambit as to what that is. Give me the moves. It is 12 a.m. It is midnight, yes. But yeah, I mean, in terms of classical games, I play the opening that I think my opponent knows the least and is the worst at. So, like, in terms of a situation where they can check all my games and I can check all of their games, this doesn't quite work because I control c1 against queen b1. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what they know the least, and then I'll prep that and just try to learn it. I think they have queen f5 here, which keeps them alive. I could go queen h4, but h5, I mean, I'm probably better off just trading queens. But right now they're wasting both of our time in the arena. Takes 7. They have queen takes c1, I guess. This guy not resigning is killing me. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, b4. Probably not. Probably just bishop takes b4. Oh, I guess it's my clock that he's playing for. But, like, really? You're killing me. There's an arena here. There's a clock ticking. He's trying to stalemate himself. All right. Thank you for playing that out. Scandinavian defense, Panov transfer. No, tell me the moves. Portsmouth against knight c6 Sicilian. I'm trying to guess the moves. Is it d4 takes and then c3? But that would just be kind of a Smith Mora. I don't know what the moves are. You got to tell me the moves. I'm not good with opening names. All right, well, we're trying to catch first in the arena here, but they are flying with 4 games, 4 berserks, 4 wins. I've got 2 games, 1 berserk, 2 wins. So we got to catch up. Let's see what we can do. A king's gambit. Nice. Oh, Pickler. Pickler. Pickle time. This is fun. What's the move here? Is it knight c6 or is it like king f8? I don't even remember. Let's go king f8. This seems like why would I want to block this? My opponent is playing this like it's theory. Does that make any sense? Would this be theory? Check g3 and can I move it again? And then knight f3. There's no way this is theory. There's just no chance. But how do I win? Queen b6, knight f3. All right, let's just develop. So takes, I was just gonna go knight e4, and we'll just see what happens. Let's just develop. I had so many ideas. I was gonna go check g3 and then come back with this threat, but I like just sacrificing lots of things. So we're gonna see if that works out for me. So here we go, down 3 pawns with these diagonals cooking with my bishops, and let's go. Let's go. We're just having fun. We're just having fun. Okay. This was certainly not the best. What can we do? What can we do to maybe salvage this? Let's try g5, g4. Let's try to bother that knight and go queen to h4 check. Let's try it. Let's go here, knight f2. I don't want to make that trade. And now g4. I mean, this almost certainly was a very bad idea. But could be interesting. We still got these guys cooking. And I do want to play queen h4. So I'm 3 pawns down. But maybe have an idea? I think what they're doing is very reasonable, though. So takes or takes f2. Oh, my goodness. Queen h4, they can also take f2. In fact, they can take f2 against anything. So what am I going to do about that? Oh, I can play here. But they have knight a4. Knight a4. I don't know why I did that anyway. This, what's their idea? Wow, this guy's good. Oh my goodness, I takes h6. What am I doing? What am I doing? This was hanging. Okay, I don't know what's happening here. What am I doing? Alright, they can take f2, but then I could just trade take h6. I have 10 seconds. I have no words for how badly I've handled this. Okay, wow. Takes. What in the world? They have check on g5. And further checks. Oh, I shouldn't have gone here. I should have gone to g8. Okay. Okay. We're gonna do better. Pickle complications, certainly. That wasn't the best on my part. That was not the best. Berserking is tough. 3 minutes and 90 seconds. You really got to make some very, very quick decisions in the opening. And I don't tend to make quick decisions in the opening. You beat that guy. By the transitive property or better. Alright. Let us... Oh, it's not 2 minutes. Okay, 2.5 minutes? No, let's not berserk. Let's not berserk this one. Are we going to get a Danish? No. We can get a bush gas transposition. Not quite. So this is like a better Scotch Gambit, a little bit. Play 94, 97 even. Let's go here. I think we're just better here. Yeah, the thing is, a good way to counter, when they have this setup, a good way to counter them just going e5, attacking my knight, is to play d5, counter-attacking their bishop there, which gives me a really excellent stake in the center. I mean, they're really asking for g5. Bishop g3, like h5. I mean, I think it's actually quite playable. There's no reason I should do it. I mean, I think after castles, bishop g4, f6, I'm much better. But this is, like, really tempting. And h5. So I'm trying to trap the bishop. And my other point was maybe I'll play d3, open this up, take g3. Something like that. I think we can make that work. d3 takes in some order. Maybe d3 first would have made more sense. Alright, let's take this, though. I mean, this is hanging, but I haven't castled my king or done anything to that effect. Alright, let's play bishop e6 so that I'm threatening to take this a little bit more for real. I do have d3 check, but yeah, the king's just going to go there. So let me take this pawn now to go up my second pawn, now that I have kind of gotten rid of the threats this way. And maybe I can... I mean, queen d6 makes a lot more sense, but this seems juicier. Putting queen takes h4 on the table. This seems fun. Knight somewhere. Knight somewhere. And then get him. Check, take. I mean, it's got to be good. Takes queen h4, king g1, queen g3, queen g2. I might be better off just going to like this square or something more normal. Let me just go here. Let me just take h4 and take g3. And I think this is pretty brutal. Threats on the dark squares. Yeah, with queen takes h4 coming. I just needed to get that knight out of the way. That would have been a good move, but I'm able to deal with this in time. In fact, I could have gone bishop takes g3 first, king takes, and that would have been mate. But yeah, the bishop is sneaking out of there. That's a checkmate threat, and I'm up a lot of pawns. In fact, I'm up 4 pawns at this moment. And I have no king issues, and queen h2 is coming. So I think this kind of worked out for us. I think this kind of worked out. My opponent tried to play kind of like a Scotch Gambit kind of situation, and didn't really work. I can take this, but I don't even have to. Okay, I mean, I probably should. I think that was imminent checkmate, but I didn't want to just allow, like, checks or, like, some other checks and then to kind of catch on. Just when the game is good enough. No style points necessary. I think here, in terms of style points, though, I want to take away, like, any rook f1 follow-ups before I eliminate this rook. Well, wait, check here. Oh, I have a cool checkmate. I have a cool checkmate. Black to play and mate in 3. Well, okay. There's one that's just g3 and bishop to g4. G3 check and bishop to g4. Oh, no, that's not even mate. G3 and knight h4 would be mate. But the cooler one is this. Bishop with the pawn covering here. I think they were both pretty cool. I think knight h4 was cool as well. But this one, take queen h4, I think that's also pretty aesthetic with the knight covering these spots. The other one was check and knight h4. But yeah, I think in this game in general, yeah, so a good way to deal with like e5 hits on the knight if their bishop is on c4, taking away this square in general, is to hit him with d5 as a nice counterpunch, because this trade tends to work out for black. Like, for example, if the bishop were on f8, I think it would be even more clear. Bishop takes g7 is nice, but even this can be pretty nice. Just develop like so. Long castle, rook takes g7. Nice pawns there, safe king over here. And then I'd be working with this open file. So maybe white should have gone for that, because my bishop wasn't there to recapture on g7. But yeah, I mean, this is already just minus. I mean, this just it keeps going up and up and up in favor of black. And yeah, I'm just up 2 pawns, and then I take that as well, owing to the nice pin on the dark squares, and we just get them. So yeah, that was actually a well-played game on my part for a change. 96 accuracy against that FM. E4, C5, knight f3, knight c6, b4 in the Portsmouth. Yes, Schrantz has made a couple videos on this. Totally valid. It's like a wing gambit, but like a little delayed. And what I like more than the wing gambit or the Mengarini is it's harder to decline once you put that knight on c6. Because then when you play b4, you can't just play d6 to defend c5, because b5 will be annoying. So, let's play Goring here. So that's kind of a situation for black where they really should take it in one of these different ways. Oh, okay, my opponent declines my Goring. Rook e1, I mean, what can I say? It's just a... just a move. Oh, here. Knight e5 or just bishop e2? a5. One second. What to do here? Play b5. And let's deal with this pin. All right, now we've broken the pin here. And I like this move, knight d4. I think that's a good spot for the knight. I would be very happy to make that trade. Pawn would rejoin the center there. And another thing I would like to do maybe is f4. Maybe take e6. Okay, so they continue to dodge this. Let's keep driving them back with f4. So I do have to watch out for this pin a little bit. But in fact, my next move was here going to be knight c4, targeting the base of this pin and also opening this defense. And I think here, in general, I'm way ahead on development. I might be losing this pawn, which I do have to watch out for a little bit. Could just play a4. Might make the most sense out of my options. But I kind of wanted to do a quick strike, if possible. Alright, let's just play king to h1 as I sidestep all this. So now they can't just take this pawn. I would just recapture. They would have to take here and give me a hit on g7. Knight f6. I was hoping to greet that rudely with e5. e5 takes. All right, you know what? Let's try this move f5 instead. And bishop g5. So this pin seems very annoying for them to deal with. And my new long-term goal is going to be to bring that knight to d5 to put a lot of pressure along this pin. Because now there's no g5 really, owing to the fact that I can en passant. They might try to long castle. However, this maneuver now looks very strong. Goring, fan favorite there. Glad you like it. Oh, sorry, my opponent declined with d3. But this seems very strong now. Knight d5 incoming, making good use of this pin. So I had your f5, which is a great way to develop my bishop all the way on that g5 square. So this seemed obligated, but maybe it just hurts them, actually. I don't know why I praised that move at all. Knight d5 coming next is now going to win that knight. Or oblige a queen sacrifice. Yeah, I don't know what I mean, c6? Like, I think this was just too strong. I think they had to play c6, give up their dreams of long castling, and just have to deal with the state of things with this nasty pin. But yeah, f5, bishop g5, I think was a really key resource there. Let me check some of these other comments. E4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, c3, d6, d4, bishop e6, takes bishop g4, ex d6, knight f6. That's pretty interesting. Why would white take on e5? I guess, okay, wait, I guess that makes sense that they would do that. Let me hear. I have a few nice options, and I'm very grateful that I got out of the way of this. I have a few good options. I think the best is going to be knight f5, hitting the queen, and of course I want any queen move to take this. Oh, I was going to play knight d5 here, but I think even stronger is just knight takes. Knight d5 allows for a queen sacrifice. Knight takes, well, there's queen e6, I have knight g7 with a nasty fork. Otherwise, knight takes queen d8 to defend. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to play knight d5. So I think if I'm black here, I'm going for the queen sack. They almost have knight takes e4 and knight f2. In fact, did they have that resource? Oh, they did, and we both missed it. Knight takes e4 here, and if I took the queen, they had knight f2. Ooh. Knight f2 check, and that would be a really nice queen trade, and they would have even maybe picked up a pawn. So I think that resource is gone because I can just take with my knight, keep the bishop there to eye the f2 square. Otherwise, the simplest option here was just knight takes, queen d8, just g7 just to be up kind of normally. But in this So, I mean, I can take the queen here. I think this is even stronger than taking the queen, honestly, is just pawn takes f5. And because they've just got so much stuff hanging. They've just got so much stuff hanging in a variety of ways. Let's go takes this way, because I didn't want to take that way and allow knight f2. But here, yeah, we're winning the queen because the king's still in the middle as well, don't forget. And so now the rook is actually going to take care of business in that regard. And we got him. Yeah, so if knight e3 to stop the rook, I also have the bishop. So things came together pretty nicely there. All right. Feel good. Feel like we can roll in this arena a little bit. How are we doing standings-wise? Oh, maybe not good. Maybe not great. That's okay. I like here a few things. My top choice, I think, was just going to be c4. Actually, you know, let's play f6, threatening g7. So rook e8, which would have dealt with a lot of issues, like clearing me from that file and dealing with the threat there, is now off the table because of the threat of g7. Now I was going to play queen to e6, attacking the knight. Knight can't move because queen e7 will just checkmate. So c6 is obliged. And then I was going to play f7 to take away rook e8. Rook e8 was a nasty resource, and I just did not want to deal with it. And now we're in a situation where any hit of this knight will be checkmate. So why don't I just keep this nasty pawn where it is? We have here queen g6. Let's play bishop g3 simply, and now threatening to take here. Yeah, rook e8 would have maybe cleared my little offensive there. Now I think we got him. Yeah, I had a number of threats there. So this worked out. I think the key moment in this game, I had mentioned it. As my opponent maybe stalls me out with mate 1. Nope. So they played here d3. They declined my goring. The key moment here, I again was able to take advantage of a serious delay in castling. Like, my opponent has now made 3 moves with this bishop. And so what I mean, I could just kind of play normally, and okay, we both castle and we get a normal position, but I'm trying to strike. I'm seeing that you're 2 moves from castling. You need to go 1, 2. So I can try to take advantage of the king in the center while it's there. So I'm going to play f4, driving you back, knight c4, and I know you don't want to make that trade. So you spend another tempo there, and I just get out the way here with king h1. I don't want to deal with this onto my own king. And here was where I was really planning e5, but I wasn't really seeing it. It's a good strike in the center, e5, take, and trying to open things, and then maybe putting e6 on the table, but I wasn't really seeing it. And so what I really liked was f5 and bishop g5. And I think this pin's pretty nasty, because now this is a situation where if you castle, you're castling into a really, really nasty pin, because the pawn on f5, like, really aggravates that. There's no g5 resource. There's no knight g6 resource, which would be a good one, which would have attacked my bishop and driven me all the way off of this pin. So if you castle, you're really just asking for this knight maybe to just come to d5, put pressure on the pin piece, which is exactly what you want to do in chess, right? So, like, you can imagine something like this, where I'm playing like knight e3, you do something, I go knight d5. So you want to attack the pin piece as many times as possible, because pin pieces, by definition, can't move out of the way when they get attacked. And now I want to take it, force pawn takes f6, and really mess up their king, right? So that's kind of the maneuver that I'm looking at here. My opponent plays h6, and now here comes this maneuver. Yes, this was the resource we both missed. Knight takes e4 was a really nice resource. Notwithstanding this tactic, everything I just said, because knight takes e4, giving up the queen. I mean, we're not often thinking about moves with this knight. We're not often thinking about moving the pin piece, but it works. It's not an absolute pin. It's not a pin on the king. It's a pin on the queen, so these things are legal. Takes and takes e7, and knight f2 check, and so here black's totally fine, actually, because they get my queen back with that fork. But so yeah, they played g5, and yeah, they got a couple question marks because they missed knight e4 multiple times, but we were just able to win the queen and win the game there. All right. Keep it rolling. If you want more of this content, please subscribe on YouTube. Every gambit I'm playing here, it says sign in to chat. can be found here, and more, where the very first link of each video is basically like a chessable course, just a long video explaining how to play this gambit, right? Full repertoire, everything to do. If your opponent goes here, go here, and just a full breakdown of how to play it. And then the others are just me playing it on stream, and other important innovations and ideas to look for in your games. And the key with these gambits, like the Pickler here, is that they're really fun, and you'll know them better than your opponent because a lot of them are brand new, like literally made up by me. You got a pin here, so there's no way your opponent will know them. Maybe Queen E7 reintroduces that threat? I don't know. Native 63, castles takes. Takes. Yeah, it probably ends badly for me, right? Queen E7 then. So reintroduces the threat. No, they're losing a piece here. I can take it, and bishop takes E7. Bishop takes E7, so I just won a piece. Yeah, D4 would have been a very good counter punch if I just had to move away, and then they had like an 85. But I do have takes F3. They can't take the bishop because I would win their queen, and otherwise takes bishop takes. Yeah, I had a counter punch D4 in this position. I actually had recently on stream, and I had to find there the very important takes. Sorry, D4 takes an F2 check, because if king takes F2, we can take here. And after D4 takes check, king E2, we have bishop to G4 check. You still got to be careful because you take the queen and then they can take here and maybe make a new queen. But anyway, different stuff. Here we're just up a pawn, up a piece, and we should still be careful because we don't want to allow them to create a nasty pawn mass. I was gonna go takes, but then they can take here. Let me go knight A6. So they can take. Can I throw in? No, I can't. They have bishop b5 check. So, okay. No matter. Yeah, I can still get rid of this potentially dangerous pawn. There's no reason I should let that stick around. You've been playing since the 70s. The Von Pop is probably the best game. Awesome. The Gambit glasses need an upgrade. I don't think they do, in my opinion. I like them a lot. They're really nice. I mean, the truth is I wear them as sunglasses. But the other truth is they give me secret powers. They harness the Gambit energy. And every time you play a Gambit, you put them on, you strike fear deep into the hearts of your opponents. See, like, the way I play is I pretend I'm my opponent, and I say to myself, what do I not want my opponent to do? My opponent being me in that meta scenario, right? What would make me most uncomfortable to have to deal with right now? And then I do that. Because you might be scared. You might think like, oh, like I don't know everything and, you know, I'm probably going to mess up, whatever. Your opponent is also very human. Like you. And my only goal is to take advantage of that humanness. This would be a sick checkmate. Otherwise, they should go back to the first rank. That's kind of the philosophy behind all my lines and all my games. Is I just try to make them uncomfortable. This is going to be mate on e8. They have to go rook c2. Can I go rook takes c3 after rook c2? I think that's a fun move. This is gonna be checkmate. I'll get wrecked if I play this against professional players. Buddy, who is it that you think I play against? Who is it that you think I play against? Ugh. No, that's so annoying. Oh my god. Wait, is this winning? Still? I have h1? Oh no, they have queen b1. I need to go g6. Oh. There we go. Okay. They had queen b1 check. It's funny, I got him with 0.7 seconds. They had queen b1 check in this position. That was their only move. But g6? And then I think I actually had them. Isn't that remarkable? I think they had nothing. I think they had nothing. Wow. I mean, this was pretty funny as I'm just racing to the end here. Even here, I think I have no return. I gotta just like kind of check, but they can keep blocking the b1 square for me to guard. And so I just go for this. This is check, king h7, but wow. I mean, wow. That's remarkable. They could have gone check. I think I'm right. Yeah, it's winning. Check, g6. They got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing in h1 next turn. So that is funny how everything's guarded here. They have no queen takes h2. They have no queen b7 to guard it. Just a funny position there. Yeah, the Schliemann. I mean, Schliemann's a good gambit. Certainly, it's very like it passes most of the tests that I'd use for a gambit, which is not well known. It's going to be very important. I don't want my opponent to just know to tend to know the stockfish moves. It's hard to decline, to just like easily be able to play natural moves and then kind of just fizzle out the position. It has good win condition scenarios, kind of. I'll play d5 here. I think maybe. And then the other two would just be like risk and reward, right? Is basically what I'm saying. Lower risk of a big stockfish number and higher reward of knocking them out right away. I like better than the Schliemann, the deferred Schliemann, how Pragnanda played against Vidi. So actually here, hold that train of thought for a second. This is a good situation where I've castled and my opponent's king is still in the center, but everything's kind of locked. And so it's like, okay, what do you do now? I could just go like la-di-da-di-da-di-da, and then, but let my opponent castle. But what I'm going to try to do is try to make things as hard as possible for them. So I'm going to try to open the center as quickly as I can before they're going to get out of the middle. So this is like really my only way to open the middle is with f4. So, okay, well, they're kind of really asking for these things. I mean, f5 is threatening queen h5 check right away. I think that really makes the quickest threat. I mean, with this diagonal in general, like sometimes check g6 just drives you away and is kind of a waste of time. But if the key is controlling the square. So here, I think we got him. Now we force the king move. That is a success in my book. The next thing I will try to do is probably bring a knight right there. Check and take. An amazing record with the Halloween Gambit. That's fun. I mean, everything's playable in Blitz, right? And of course, in lower time controls, there's going to be more mistakes. when you try to move this over to classical, of course, you know, you need to be much more careful in terms of these lines because the quality of your opponent's moves will go up a lot. I'm taking here so that my opponent doesn't shut this diagonal down because I think I can just get him right there on g8. I think Nate takes d5. I don't see any reason why not because I don't see any way to guard g8. And yeah, this goes to show why you can't just bundle up. You can't just bundle up because you just give me all the time in the world to attack. And guess what? I will attack. An 83 is playable, but it's not even necessary. I'll just go here. Bishop e3 is playable. Let's go knight b6 and 83. Everything's good. Yeah, queen's gonna move. This is defended, and queen takes g8 coming. So yeah, nice knockout there. And yeah, so we just tried to punish my opponent for not castling, right? This is what we try to do. We try to strike quick, get your king out of the center, and then if your opponent's king is still in the center, or honestly, wherever your opponent's king is, try to blow it up. Try to make pawn trades around there to open everything there. Most important thing is your king's safety. Second most important thing is your opponent's king's unsafety. Alright, well that concludes this arena, I guess. I guess we finished 5th. We lost 1 game. Had a 23-44 performance. That doesn't include the berserks. We berserked 5 of the 7 games. Or 4 of the 7 games. Played 1 FM. We can join another arena. I'm also happy to take challenges from my subscribers on YouTube. So if you are subscribed to me on YouTube and you would like to challenge Graif here on Lichess, please do that. What's up, Yan Yan? How are you doing? Muzio Gambit. Can you tell me the moves of that again? Sorry, I recall having a good opinion of that. Eastern Super Blitz Arena. Why not? Let's join that until someone sends me a challenge. For some reason... So the Muzio Gambit, let me have a look. Oh, okay. I got a challenge. Scarecrow Kid. All right. We'll play again. This one will be 3-0. Good luck, my friend. Make sure to mute the stream. And let's go. Speaking of gambits, let's see what we can play here. Scarecrow is a very strong opponent. What I would love to do is play even a dummy gambit against d6. But we have an Alekine here. Okay, knight c6. I think against knight c6 I have to play something a little bit more legitimate with d4. So we still want to play aggressive chess, but we have to play real chess. That's okay. It happens. Let's play c4 and maybe start thinking about d5. Can we do it? Can we just run him over? My concern is that after takes, knight b4, we have to defend this, right? So knight c3, and then there's going to be like d6. So I'm just going to play knight c3 myself, as I consider these options. I think knight c3 is a move I was going to have to play no matter what. And we also don't have too much time on the clock. So... okay. I'll take it. Bishop takes is not possible, yeah, because there was c5. Alright, let's play bishop d3. And if d5, I'll play c5 here. So my opponent choosing some other options here. Play b3. So that knight b4, I can move this away maybe. I think I might have to slide this guy back. Slide this back. I think I have an 84. Targeting this bishop that was otherwise causing me some problems. Play c5 first. Oh! We both forgot this was hanging. Okay. I don't know what just happened there. Okay. Wow. Okay. Stay focused. Just play the position in front of you. Analysis is for the end of the game. Let's bring our bishop here. I meant to take... anyway. Okay. Here, what I want to do is expand with a3, b4, right? So... Okay, let's try it. a3 and b4. They might play a5, but I was maybe going to play like rook b1 or something like this. Otherwise, I'm happy that I got rid of their dark square bishop. I think that was their best piece. Because the dark square bishop, along with the light square pawns, is the piece you want on the board, certainly. Yeah, let's play b4. Something I'd love to do is if I got the opportunity to play b5, knight moves c6. Yeah, let's do that, actually. b5 and c6. So before they're able to make this trade here, that would undermine me. Oh, so they are going to give that bishop, but now I feel... yeah, I had this pin, and so things are working here. Let's just not flag. I think I'm up a lot of material at this point. Yeah, I'm up a rook. I'm up a rook. What do I play against the King's Gambit? I play the Pickler Gambit. And you don't have to go full Pickler. There's another good option to play knight takes c6 as well, but this is also covered on my channel. It is with, let's trade here, and queen b2 is a nice move to prepare rook c1, and otherwise the queen is going to cover the main invasion squares. Note, after queen b3, I was eyeing knight d2, which can be a nasty fork, but I had this knight here, so that knight takes e5, I was prepared to go pawn takes e5. If I recaptured, then knight d2, as I mentioned, is a nasty fork. Let's play rook c1, and my next move is going to be h3, because I don't want any unspeakable things to happen to me on the back rank. And king h2, let's stay safe. Because, yeah, we're a rook up here, but with queens on the board, you got to watch your king safety. So this is as safe as you can get, really. In fact, I'm going to go here first. I'm going to allow this check. Because, obviously, they don't want a queen trade. But, what was I going to say? This pin is really nasty. This pin is a very, very nasty one. They should go... Yeah, so here I'm very happy to trade queens. And now we're going to go with this pawn, which should be cleared for takeoff. King g8, yeah. King g8 was maybe a better chance to catch it, but yeah, the knight will not do well to catch this pawn if it doesn't have this square. And this is checkmate. Good game, sir. Good game, sir. We can have a look at this one. This was an interesting Alekhine Gambit. I had no... Sorry, Alekhine opening. I had nothing in particular prepared there. So what we got here, I had a big center out of the opening, but nothing much to do with it because d6 was a good way to chop away. So just takes bishop d3. h6 was maybe not the most necessary precautionary move. Maybe just bishop e7. And castles could have been played without that. And, you know, you always want to develop in castle as quickly as possible. So, bishop f6, I played bishop to e2 here. So this remains about a +1 position with my nice center, knight e4. And yes, c5 was crazy. I mean, this was crazy. I played c5 and immediately played knight d7. But, yeah, it takes here, and I would just be down a piece because this was hanging. So, pretty funny situation there. Better for me to just take this and then play c5, which would have been very similar to the game. But I would have been I'm very happy to make this trade here with knight e4, because this bishop was a very good one, putting pressure on d4, which is a pawn that I can't defend with another pawn. So meaning that I have to use other pieces to defend that. Like, if I have a pawn that can defend a pawn, that's the best case scenario, because no matter how many times you attack it, I don't have to defend it even once with another piece. Do you still play my line against the Trompovsky? Yeah, I play the Deceiver Gambit. I play the Deceiver Gambit, which is another gambit that I have prepared. Bishop g5, I play knight e4, and e5, which is a fun one. But yes, so here I'm in a good situation with the bishop pair and getting rid of the best piece for black. If you have light square center pawns, your dark square bishop is your best piece. So yeah, I was able to then build up a strong pawn chain over here. Probably better to play pawn takes c5. To play pawn takes c5 to not allow what I got in the game, which was b5 and c6, which is a really nice punch. b5 making the knight move before a capture could happen here, and now c6, very strong. Pawn on c6 that you sacrifice for, but then after bishop to b5, I think you're losing even more material owing to this pin. What's up, Ravi? How you doing? So then after knight d7 here, I was just kind of up a rook, and we played things pretty safe here, keeping my king on h2, and we managed to get the queens off and promote. So had a good position there out of the opening, barring that one blunder. And yes, thank you for the game. All right, Infinite Tsukuyomi. I will accept this challenge. 3+2. Make sure to mute stream. Good luck. Yes, the only thing I asked if you guys send me challenges is that you subscribe on YouTube. Where I'm publishing lots of videos. C5. I challenge you to survive my Yan Yan Gambit. I will accept that challenge as soon as I play my own Yan Yan Gambit. E6. I could play a French, but maybe I'll play D5. And I'll play D3. And we'll get a Yan Yan. Wow, the YouTube servers are just so much better than the Twitch servers. I just don't, like, where... I'm going to increase my stream quality even more. As soon as I play. So, yes, D3. So this, hopefully we'll get to play a Yan Yan here. After pawn takes e4, we can transpose with this move bishop to f4. Okay. Can I play bishop to f4, or am I just asking for this move? e5. Might just be better off playing knight to f3. Because bishop to f4, e5, I back it up, and then I feel like I just give an excellent center. Otherwise, knight to f3, I'm asking for... Okay, I'm willing to play that. e5, bishop g3, and maybe I'll strike at the center. Okay, a6 takes away this. Interesting. Okay, now I'll play knight to f3. Now I have rook takes d1, which is a much better recapture on d1. In fact, rook takes d1 is an excellent recapture. But with a6 and the pawns here and here, well supported, it'll keep the dangerous Yan Yan knight out of action. So here comes h6 and maybe a g5, which... was not on my bingo card in this position. I think what I might want to do... So I have several options here. I have takes in d4. I think queen e2 might be the most annoying of my options. No, you know what? I'm going to go with takes in d4. I think that seems the most straightforward to me of straightening out my position, and it makes h6 look the stupidest. I think anything, queen c2, queen e2, those were also very reasonable moves. Takes d4, so maybe there's this capture, which would mess things up. Let's go knight takes. h4. h4 is interesting, but I just didn't take g5 nearly seriously enough. I just didn't take it that seriously. They can take a3, which would be probably pretty annoying. It would be probably pretty annoying. It would mess up my nice pretty pawns. Yeah, so I really wanted this and to have my kind of nice pretty pawns, but I have the opposite of that instead. Can I make something of it? check. There's queen e7. Maybe there bishop d... no. Okay, I think we're just going to have to use our bishop pair here. So let's play bishop d3 and castle. So, interesting position here. I have ugly pawns. But they gave up their dark square bishop. Let's go queen. I kind of want to go here because I have a very obvious sneaky idea of taking on h6. And I didn't want to go queen d2 because knight e4 is very strong. Here, maybe f3 first. I don't know. Like, is it so out of the question? Knight c5 they should play because it has a tempo here, regardless. But now this is very serious. So, okay, interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, okay, they do have queen f6. It wasn't that scary. I should play something like rook b1 or maybe queen d2. Yeah, queen d2. I should defend this. It's a 3+2 game, so I'm not going to flag just like that. But this knight can come in here, which is very annoying. Let's bring this rook to e1 so that my queen can tuck back in there. Bishop d7 they can play, though. If I play here knight b3 and knight c4, queen d4, I think this will come out okay for me. So knight b3. Of course, pawn takes b3 would solve a lot of my problems in terms of that ugly pawn structure. But it's hard to really dodge this so much. Knight c4, can I go takes? This is hanging, but they've also got some stuff hanging, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. Takes knight c5. Playable. Knight c4 takes. c3 is hanging. It would be a crazy line. The other option is queen d4, which is a little more tame. Takes, c takes. Knight b3, bishop b3. Knight c4. I might go for this. I think it could end up in my favor. So, an interesting line here as I try to force a capture on b3 by targeting both of these guys. And if I can force the capture on b3, then knight takes b3, and I'm in business. An interesting situation here. Okay, we forced the capture on b3, which is such a win, and now our position is better. So I'm pretty happy. Do I want to trade, or do I want to go f4, f5? I think option 2. Also, kicking the knight and queen d3 is on the table. Okay, f5. Can I get him with takes and f6? Ooh. Oh, yeah. We forced them backwards. And at minimum, I also have queen d4 check winning here. I wasn't even thinking about that. But, wait, this is hanging. And check. Yeah, bishop c8 cut the rook's defense there. And I think we got him. So that was a very interesting Yan declined kind of game. Good game, Mr. Infinite Tsukoyami. Let's have a look. Let us have a look at this game. Let's go request computer analysis. Oh, good night, Seski. See you next time. Guys, make sure to join the Discord where if you go here to the link tree, first of all, that's where you can see all the gambits and learn how to play whichever one you'd like. But the Discord there, where you guys, a very vibrant community of everyone discussing opening ideas, sharing their games and everything. And I choose the best games to feature on my weekly Gambit Geniuses in my videos. And I draw on ideas from them for my own videos. So it's really awesome stuff. You also get notified when I go live and post new videos. Okay, Yan Gambit. which is a fun one, and video is coming very soon. Takes e4, bishop f4, right? So with bishop to f4 here, what our plan is that if we get a full acceptance, we want to play go queen e2, we want to castle, we want to get him with the rook that's going to be there, we want to play knight b5 and get him here, and just really, really fun stuff against the Alapin. So c3, mainly we get this with d5, knight a3, takes d3, but this is kind of what I tried to transpose to a little bit in the game. We didn't quite get that, and my opponent does a good job with these pawns of boxing out this Yang Yan knight of jumping into the game. So really just an equal position here, and my opponent goes for the interesting option against bishop takes a3. What do I play? I mean, I play the dummy gambit, but I can hardly fully recommend it because there is a refutation, and I named it the dummy gambit to remind you. Otherwise, I think in a very legitimate way, I think knight f3 and bishop e2 is most advisable. There is like a little bit of theory you have to know, but in terms of the dummy gambit, it's really fun, and there's no way your opponent knows it, and it's a fun way to sacrifice. So you can check that out and decide for yourself. Yes, so we had here d4, and I think my opponent's decision to go bishop takes a3 is a very good one. I think if they don't do that, this knight is going to jump back, fortify this square, and now I have this nice blockader of an isolated pawn. So an isolated pawn allows for me to get an outpost right in front of it. An isolated pawn by definition means there's no other pawns that can dislodge my knight. So that'll be an outpost. My knight can stay there forever, and then I can play around that and maybe attack this pawn in the long run because there's no pawns that can defend it. So bishop takes a3 was played, but yes, if you want to play something legitimately, I touched on it in that video anyway, so you're good. But yes, takes a3. So bishop takes a3 was an interesting throw-in. So the pro is that it completely ruins my pawn structure. These are both weak pawns and can be attacked. The con is that you now have lots of light square pawns and no dark square bishop, so those squares could be very vulnerable in your position. So it's a very dynamic sort of equality here, where I have a very good bishop pair, but unless I get them kind of quickly, then like long term the structure is going to be bad, right? So, but the thing is, that's kind of the thing about weak pawns, right? Weak pawns are more important in endgames and more important when things are getting traded, because the truth about weak pawns is they aren't that important. They're not nearly as important as king safety. They're not nearly as important as, I mean, assuming material is equal, right? They're not nearly as important as king safety or active pieces, right? Like, who cares that I have doubled pawns if I'm checkmating you, right? But, you know, when queens get traded, then it's very hard to attack, right? It's almost impossible to just attack a king in general without a queen on the board. And there's less dynamic activity in the position, then it kind of dawns on you that, oh wow, it's hard to defend, and they can kind of organize like a more organized attack on just like spending a lot of time just attacking a pawn. Whereas in this position, when there's a lot of dynamic activity here, where I could play maybe bishop e5, I could bring my rook around, I could maybe play here and give like a checkmating threat, you don't necessarily have the time to just attack one pawn. That's kind of what I'm saying, right? So pawn structure matters, of course, but like, you know, pawns that are way away from the king, they're going to matter less than dynamic activity in the position. So if you're black, and in this scenario, you definitely want to trade queens to reduce the amount of dynamism in the position so that my bad pawns are going to matter more, if that makes sense. Yes, so I don't know why I could just click there. So, but what happened here is, so I tried to make things happen. I've tried to go queen c1 and make bishop takes h6 happen, right? Knight e4, this is why I go queen c1 and not queen d2, because that would come with tempo, but I'm able to drive that knight away. Knight c5 comes with tempo on my bishop. If this weren't under attack, then yes, this would be a great sacrifice, and I'd try to get him. Right? I'm happy to give a bishop for 2 pawns right in front of their king, and maybe try and checkmate them there. Like f5 they have to play or something like this to not get checkmated right away. Again, assuming this isn't hanging, right? It is hanging, so, you know, it doesn't work at all. They can just take this. But would have been fun stuff. I just played bishop c2, now queen to f6 defends that very nicely, so very well played by my opponent. Queen d2 I have to play to defend this stuff. Knight to a5, jumping in, knight c4, all very well played by my opponent. Rook e1, bishop d7, all very logical stuff, because rook, they can't play knight c4 yet, that's hanging, so they finish their development. Now with knight b3, they play knight to a takes b3, which is apparently the best move, so this is minus 0.9. The best move was knight c takes b3. What's the point? Bishop to b5, attacking here. It's kind of annoying. And I think I'm kind of overwhelmed a little bit, because it's a situation where, like, if I take, I can't challenge the file with rook e1 because I would trade and lose this bishop because my queen would be distracted. And otherwise, if the rook moves elsewhere, there's, like, rook e2. So it's a situation where suddenly I have too many things to defend. Like, this is defending this, it's defending this, it's defending this from, like, some more aggressive pieces. I think would kind of be the issue. But they don't quite find this nice move, bishop b5, and instead put the bishop on a little more passive square, bishop e6, defending here. And I just needed one passive move. That was kind of all I needed. And now here come my excellent bishops. So here comes bishop e5, hitting the queen, queen g5, f4. I'm not interested in trading queens, driving that queen back, f5. Here we come, right? I mean, really, they played one bad move the whole game with bishop e6. Bishop comes all the way back, and now all of a sudden here's a sacrifice. That is the power of the bishop pair with queen still on the board. I mean, it was well supported by my rooks. I had the bishops here, and I had everything pointing at their king, and now all of a sudden, like, there's just check here, and queen takes h6, checkmate coming. Almost out of really, like, bishop b5, they needed to keep up the threats. Keep me on the back foot, not allow me to get in what I wanted here, which was bishop e5, f4, f5. Like, that all came with tempo, takes, and this is already a +6 position. But they hung that in the game. So yeah, very well played by my opponent. Really interesting game. I think their one mistake here is just bishop to e6. Why didn't YouTube send me a notification? Good question. I think what you can do is go to my channel and hit the bell. So actually, let me just test this by going to, like, one of my favorite YouTubers. Here's Eric Rosen's. I think what you do, so you're subscribed, but then, yes, so you're on, like, I'm on personalized. You can go to all. So hit that little bell for notifications. So what you want to do, you go to youtube.com/@gambitman. Well, that's me. I'm subscribed to myself. All. So hit the bell, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. I'm that guy that tells you to do that. Yeah, exactly. Tell Magnus and Hikaru to face my gambits. All right, Yan Yan. I'm happy to accept this challenge. Send me the challenge. Let's go. Greetings from your fans in Iraq. Greetings to Iraq. Thank you for joining. What time is it there? Oh my god, it's so late. I have work tomorrow. You guys must be a solid 8 hours ahead. Okay, so it's like 9:22. So no, this is actually my first, great question. This is my first ever stream on YouTube. This is my first ever YouTube stream. I had always streamed on Twitch, and I don't know why. I don't know why. This is much better. First of all, I have more viewers. Welcome. I'm always happy to have more people watching. And the Twitch servers suck. I'm sorry, but like, I was having so many problems with, like, lag, dropped frames, all this stuff. Like, and they dropped. So you guys, when you guys subscribe to me on Twitch, right? You pay $5 a month, but Twitch is taking half of that, literally half of that, before taxes, right? So, you know, it's kind of crazy. I would honestly rather you just subscribe to me here for free, on YouTube, and you guys can actually be, I can enable, like, supers and such, but I think I might just be a YouTube streamer because everything is working here. I'm having no technical issues whatsoever, and I'm so done with having technical issues. So yeah, I don't know. If I'm more active, I'll gain 100,000 subs within the next year. That would be pretty crazy. That would be awesome. I only have about 5,300 at the moment, but spread the word. Become one yourself. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You already sent the stream. You sent the challenge. All right, Mr. Yan Yan. Good luck. I don't know. So, for context for everyone else, Yan Yan is a friend of mine who is the creator of the Gambit that he's about to play, which is with knight to a3 here. And I think I'm pretty obligated to accept and play here. So this Gambit that I have actually recorded a video offering a full repertoire here on everything to do, on every move other than d takes e4 black could play, on moves on e takes d3 and everything after that, on knight f6 and everything after that, covering all the options for black. I've recorded a full repertoire video that will be published in the coming couple days. And I did mention he pre-moved. He knew that I knew the best line. Okay. So what now? Let's go knight c6. Bishop g3. All right, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, and he's going to be very well prepared. The Yan Yan Gambit is named after him. He is Yan Yan. He is the Yan Yan. So, what to do, what to do, what to do. Let's play e5. Let's try and cut this bishop. Wow. I feel like I'm walking into a lot of prep. The thing is, I like to be the one prepared. I don't like this. What might be surprising for him to face? Maybe this move seems annoying. Trying to take this bishop that he's trying to open with knight b5. Just trying to play something he wouldn't know. Although I think maybe they're okay after d5. But yeah, I know two Iraqis with the Robbie surname. Yes, in terms of the VOD for YouTube Live, that's a very good question. Because I don't even know. I assume that will be available. I will make sure that I will do everything in my power to make it available to everyone. So I got rid of this bishop. d6, I have knight f5. So knight b5 there to get to c7 won't quite work. I'll be able to eliminate that. But I think after e4... so I don't think this was quite working. I think e4, he was okay. And I was maybe just going to play a6 to keep away the nastiness. I mean, I would have loved to escape this way. But yeah, d6, it looked like maybe any knight move and knight b5, knight c7 would come. But I think here... Now I need to take this. I mean, these are also hanging, but I don't want knight c7. So I think we're okay after this, though. I think I am a pawn ahead now. I think we've survived I think we've weathered the worst of this storm. It's like playing the bush gas against me, you know? He knows this just so well, inside and out. It's like facing the bush gas Gambit against me. But I mean, this is fun. Yeah, so the thing is, I touch on this in the video that I recorded, which is that, well, I'll talk about E3 a little bit more, but it has literally 0 games in the database, literally 0, out of a couple hundred in that position. I think here e4 could be strong and take g3. e4, bishop b5. I can go bishop d7. Yeah, let's play 4. Well, oh, there's queen a4 check. Spicy. So let's just go here and castle next turn. I guess bishop to b5, bishop to d7 could have been a transposition to just that position. I don't want to castle. Well, now e4, queen h4. Whatever, I'll just castle. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to deal with this h7 pawn. Alright, so he managed to castle that way anyway. Here I can take d1. It is, okay, yeah, it is 3+2, thank God. I would have just flagged otherwise. So yeah, now we're in a spot where before these rooks are coordinated, any bishop move, I can trade everything on d1. Queen takes, 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 takes. And that way I'll be fine. Yeah, I'm happy to do that, honestly, because I feel as though I'm just ahead of pawn, and that I would kind of try to win that endgame. So I'm going to play, well, e4, there's an 82, right? I really invite an excellent knight if I play like that. So why don't we go here? Okay, maybe now e4. This knight feels far from d4. I don't want to flag. I gotta be a little bit faster. This knight is a dancing one. Can you take it? I was gonna go here maybe and try and take. Bishop f7, take here. It seems unnecessary, but fun. Like, I think otherwise I have it a little bit locked down. But I think this is a cool line to go for. Bishop 7, a4. Knight f4 is going to cover g2, though. But still, takes g3 is going to be very good, because I'm going to attack e3, so I think this is worth it. I'm still up a pawn, right? Oh, there's knight d6 check. Oh! Oh, wait, but then take, I can check and win this back. I should have traded that knight while I had the chance. I don't know what's happening here anymore. I think I played this really poorly. Aha! Oh, I didn't even see this. I am now down a lot of pawns. Down a whole bunch of pawns here. Can play bishop b2 and win one of them. I think I can hold a draw miraculously. But I might have been losing there. I might have been losing, but in opposite color bishops it provided a lot of drawing chances. Wow, good game. Good game. Today the Yan Yan, tomorrow the gas. Good game, Mr. Yan Yan. I think you had me. That was a pretty up and down. Well, I mean, okay, we've got to analyze this. But that was a pretty up and down game, and you fought really, really well for just being down a clean pawn in the endgame. So, okay, what happened here? Let's review. Knight to a3. I take it, d3. Knight to f6 to defend, and bishop to f4. So again, asking me to take and give the main Yan Yan lines with queen d2. Long castles, rook coming here, knight coming to b5, and jumping into the game. Now, the nasty, nasty line that I touch on in the original video is out of, let's see here. Out of all the games in this position, there are absolutely 0 with e3, which is the top engine move. So we're already in uncharted territory, but Yang Yan knew that I knew that, and pre-moved f takes e3. So knight c6, bishop to g3, backing up, and it's important. So the point of e3, let me talk a little bit about e3. The point is that if we just do something else, right, and then there's d takes e4, this trade is always going to be good for white. Because white's always going to be in a situation where they can play rook takes d1 as a recapture. They don't have to go king takes d1. They got the queen away, and they took a pawn. And now this is kind of a thing where they can just go knight b5 and knight c7, and there's like no way to guard that. Not only will you lose your rook, you can lose your king. That's going to be checkmate. So those trades are always dangerous. You know, e6, I mean, d takes e4 is still a good move in all these lines. The queen trade's good. Knight b5 is always dangerous. And, you know, that's all covered in the original video. What black can do to just get rid of all that is e3. And to just take away that resource for white. And now knight b5 is not scary at all. But the more scary is knight d5. Because not only does that guard c7, but it also can hit the bishop and force the trade. Because here, if there was just knight f3, I can play knight d5. And if the bishop moves, I can take this pawn now. So that's why Mr. Yang Yan backs up bishop g3. But this position's about minus 0.3. So here I play e5. Just trying to take as much space as possible. d4, which he played really quickly, which I didn't think was a good move, but I didn't know what was going on, and he played it really quickly. It's minus 2.3. So c takes d4. I'm just looking at this now. This is funny. Oh, wow. Somehow we've transposed, so there is one game in this position. I don't even know how that happened. I guess the point was takes. Oh, because I can get rid of this knight. I didn't even see that. I can get rid of this knight. I can just get rid of this dangerous knight. So we're in a spot where, yeah, if takes, then knight b5, this seems kind of dangerous. Because it's like, okay, how do you stop this? Then, you know, all the dangers are back. All the dangers are back of keeping this knight out of c7. I mean, I guess there's some crazy lines here, but I'm like, I didn't want to deal with that. But I didn't even see that, yeah, you can just get rid of this knight. And then now you're in a spot where, okay, I'm much closer to castling than you are. I'm going to be up a pawn. I can play queen a5. So obviously this is quite good for, quite good. It was bishop b5, not knight b5. Well, so what do you mean? Well, you probably don't want to play d4 here, because takes... This is already minus 2. This is already minus 2. So d4 probably shouldn't be the move. The engine's recommendation is knight to f3, after which it's about minus 0.1, attacking this pawn. And the engine actually recommends black to leave this pawn, offering this and just offering that pawn. And now we have ideas like knight g4, attacking this stuff, rook to e8. So maybe you shouldn't take that pawn if you're white in this situation. Interesting stuff. So d4 was played here. Anyway, I didn't play it right either. I'm just like, let me confuse you. I'm going to play knight to e4, which swings it from minus 2.3. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can maybe even see that eval bar. It swings it from minus 2.3 to plus 0.7 after here d5. So I get rid of the bishop, but little did I know I just could have taken and gotten rid of the knight. So here after d5, I play knight to e7, and yeah, d6. So the best move was check bishop d7, and then maybe like e4, or it's saying like knight to f3, and just keep developing. And yeah, this is a little uncomfortable. I'm kind of far from castling, so I don't know why I went through all this trouble to take here and allowed for that strong pawn. But anyway, d6 was still a good move. Knight to b5 did just allow me to take this pawn. Knight to b5 looks like, okay, you can defend this and play knight c7, but that's why it's important I go here in particular. There's no knight c7, I take this pawn, and then all should be good in my position. Bishop to b5 check would have kept the advantage for white, because now after bishop to d7, I can't win this pawn after queen d5. Attacking here. It's saying now knight takes and takes, and white is better. Bishop takes, I guess they can attack this knight, and then I would lose this bishop after the knight is forced to move. So, wow, tough line there. Queen d5, sneaking into that newly created square with d6, and then the queen can wreak havoc in the black position. Interesting stuff. So knight b5 was played. I go knight takes d6. Takes. Again, it wanted queen d5 to try and cause lots of problems. And it does seem good, right? It attacks here, attacks here. The bishop is defending here. Defends the castle and put a lot of pressure on the d line. Try adding Lichess Tools browser extension. Oh, okay, yeah, I will check that out. That is pretty cool. In the game, knight takes d6, and so here I should just be up a pretty clean pawn. As we castle, I play c4, and I managed to trade all this. I mean, I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't win this. It's minus 1.9, but Mr. Yang Yan fought very, very well. So this is minus 1.9. It's a clean pawn, and I have a development advantage, and I have a bishop pair. But something got away from me here. I was very low on the clock, to be a little bit fair to myself. So I played here e4, which was actually pretty well timed, as the knight is now having a hard time reaching this nice d4 square. And so I'm fixing this nice weakness for me. But the knight now instead develops here, and its file is open, and it might be hopping around. So I get out of the way a little bit. Here comes knight g5, bishop g6, and the knight continues to hop around in my position. Apparently this was the big mistake. Oh yeah, this makes a lot more sense to just target g3, right? But I play bishop b6, and now we're equal. So now we are equal. So knight to e6, bishop to f7, knight d4. I play rook takes g3. Yeah, so this was just a crazy situation. So you managed to snag the g7 pawn. I was hoping that maybe I can go here, take g3, and then try and win some of these. But I have a lot of pawns hanging myself. Because after knight to e4, like, this is hanging, this is hanging, this is hanging. So, like, a lot of things can be lost. So, takes was the best for me, and it would have been equal. I play rook takes g3, which is a little bit worse equal. King to f2. I go back rook g7, which is a huge blunder. I need to go takes d4 and allow king takes g3. Oh my goodness. Could I have at least gone here? Maybe. Allow rook takes h7 and just bishop d5. I guess this is playable. It's just a rook itself. Can't do too much damage, and the bishop is still a little out of the game if I can maintain this. So that was an option. You're an endgame expert. Well, you certainly back that up this game. So knight takes f5. You've swung this from -2 to +2. So knight takes f5. This is looking pretty bad for me now. Rook g5. I blundered this fork. I didn't even see it. So I'm down here on the clock. You know, let me make this even bigger. You know what? Let me do here. Let me just go boom, boom, and now you guys can just see the times. There you go. I'm gradually showing you guys more about this. So, what were the times in this position? So as soon as we traded, I had 24, but then I spent over half my clock, 24 to 10, on here, and so we're down a lot. Very poor time management on my part. And Yang Yan correctly spends his time to find all the right stuff. And so we're playing just off increment here, 3+2 game. Takes my bishop, check, take here. And this is looking very good for him, because at this exact moment the pawns are equal, but it's about to not stay that way, because takes, rook e7, and for a second I think, okay, maybe I can take on e3. The very best option, rook takes h7, was good, but now, so I'm down 2 pawns, and so this should definitely still be winning. But the reason why I have practical chances to draw is because of opposite color bishops, right? And because they're not together. What I could do, like, for example, let's say there was only one pawn, I could just stick my king on e5. Let's say there's only one pawn, and nobody could ever make my king move for the rest of the game. So it's pretty easy to hold, like, let's say they were here and here. I could stick my king on f4, and then maybe you'll never make it to a dark square the rest of the game. Something like that. But probably shouldn't get to that situation, especially because this pawn can be attacked. It's on a light square. So let's see what happened here. Bishop c5, bishop g8, it got attacked, b5. Here comes the king. g4. Yeah, I think better was just advancing the king as much as possible. So like here or king f4, trying to claim as much space as possible, because I need to set up some sort of dark square blockade, and I'm not close to doing that. So the more you advance with your king here, the farther I am. Like I'm not doing it on g5. What am I going to do it on g7? I need to get all the way over here, and it seems pretty hard. Like king e7, for example. Let's just say like e4, king f6. Yeah, like e5 check. Now I need to like pick a side, kind of. So kind of a tough situation. And also the king can just come this way and start eating these pawns. So I think that was probably best. g4 now allows me to get this nice spot in the center, which feels good, and helps my chances of saving this game. And now with bishop to e7, I feel like I've blocked this pawn, and with the bishop here, I've blocked this one as well. So Yang Yan comes up with a new way to annoy me with b3. And I felt like if I ignored that, then take, and then I would lose that. That pawn is on a light square, and then the bishop can now come around and attack it. So I can hold this bishop on g5 and the king on e5, 2 dark square blockades, but I might just lose my pawns over here. So in the game, I play bishop to a3, takes, and the reason I play bishop a3 is to get him with bishop b2. So here comes this pawn. Maybe king e2 and king d2 might have been a better idea to maybe hold c3, hold the c3 pawn, and then the bishop can come around, maybe come to g8, attack me here, right? So then like my king would have to go there, and then this pawn can start rolling. Something like that. But we get into this race, and somehow it works out for me. So here, the g-pawn keeps coming. King f6 was a big mistake. What could I... King e6? That doesn't even make sense. King f6 was somehow a mistake. Believe it or not, I needed to go here. I don't quite follow. Let's see why. So king e4, and I realize here I can't go takes. I can't go takes because this is a great check defending c3, and now we're kind of just in the same situation as before where I have to deal with these two pawns. I didn't want that. I wanted to get rid of this pawn. So here comes king d5, which attacks this pawn, and I can't save it, and opens this defense. But I have this nice counterpunch, bishop to d2. Yeah, I'm convinced maybe the engine doesn't know what it's talking about. You really appreciate everything about my chess mastery. Excellent commentary, wonderful gambits. Aw, that's so nice. Yes, let me get to a lot of these comments in a moment. But I really appreciate that you appreciate that. Bishop to d2. Okay, so we're in a spot here where if takes, I can just take e3, and then I can just sit this on a dark square, defend that, sit my king on a dark square, done. Done. There's nothing you can do to touch me, right? And in fact, something similar happened in the game. So he has to keep this on the board. He has to allow as few pawn trades as possible. But the issue with e4 is that I'm able to get this. It blocks the bishop. So apparently king d4 does white's best to keep this all on the board. So that king d4 really limits the pawn trades. And now it's saying a4. I don't know what a4 does. What's the next idea? Oh, a4 might put me in a bit of zugzwang. It's like king g7. It's saying king c5. Giving this pawn. I'm not sure it knows what it's talking about. Is it possible I'm losing this pawn? Is it possible I have no defense? Because this pawn's in the way of defending it here. This is a crazy situation. Am I losing this pawn? Guys, I think I'm just losing that a pawn, in which case I would lose the game. That's wow, an unbelievable pattern. Okay, he needs to not take the c pawn. Here's how to win. Don't take the c pawn. Make me push it to c3. Play a4. That way when you run with your king, you're going to win this pawn because this pawn is going to block my defense. We're in a situation where, like, now I move this anywhere. King b7 happens. And now king a6 happens. You're going to take this. Bishop does a great job. Defends this pawn. Stops this altogether. And then they take here. This pawn's going to go. I'm going to have to sacrifice on a7. This is going to stay in the game. I can't do anything. Once I sacrifice on a7, the king is going to come here, clean up c3, and then come all the way back to this part of the board to win. Wow. King c6, I lose this, and it's a table-based win. Unbelievable. So, wow. Nice one. Okay, but that didn't happen. I mean, the much more human thing happened, and also we were low on time. So e4, I was able to take this, and then by virtue of trading one pawn, I was able to just, yes, sit the king on a big fat dark square. Nobody's ever going to make me move for the rest of the game. That's what opposite color bishops can do. Sit the pawn on a big fat dark square, and the bishop can just defend that for the rest of the game. Nobody can do anything about that. So, wow. Fun game overall against Yang Yan, and which started with crazy gambits and ended with some very technical endgame stuff, where I barely held on. But a great game, a wild back and forth one. Both our accuracies were 89, I see here, and you could just see the path of this one, and eventually it fizzled out to a draw. GG's there. Long live the Yan Gambit. Okay, let me read some comments. Enormous thanks. Could I have a series on Gambit's pawn structure, formations versus standards? Tell me what you mean a little bit, and I can try to help address that. Yeah, GG, man. That was a great game. Like Gambits in the Sicilian and King's Indian. Yeah, I mean, I can touch on a little bit. You said King's Indian, and one thematic one comes to mind, which is, I guess, what you're talking about a little bit. But it would be something like this, right? Where, so we have some sort of King's Indian structure, and a very common one in the King's Indian is if black can sacrifice this and this for this. That's kind of the trade they're looking for very often. in terms of like thematic gambit ideas that are very relevant to this pawn structure, because here white's already messed up, even though like this is the setup they want to do. White's already messed up because black can go e5, and after d5, knight d4, which is a great spot for the knight if it can stay there, and c5 can really solidify it there. And if you take it, now you're in a situation where this bishop has unleashed its full power without that pawn. There's lots of light square pawns and no dark square bishop, so really lack of control of the dark squares for white. And already there's knight takes e4 here, which is a really nice move because it hits the queen. You need to play queen takes e4, and then rook e8 wins the queen. And even in a situation where we didn't have knight takes e4, like let's say I played rook e8 and then you castled, and now here I play like something like knight d7. This is, or not even castle, like let's say bishop e2. So now, I don't know. Let's say there was no knight takes e4, right? And knight d7 and like a5 and knight c5. This is still considered to be like really nice for black because this bishop is just such a monster. It's uncontested. There's no dark square bishop to oppose it. Knight will stay on c5. Again, dark square. Pawn b4, not possible. Dark square, like you just control all that, and then you'll hit him with f5, and then you'll play bishop takes f5, and then you'll start to get things rolling. But an uncontested bishop, the knight and pawn making that trade with knight d4 is very important. So in theory, in the sandwich here, it's very important for white to go knight e2, and then so that if e5 and knight d4, it's really just losing a pawn because white keeps this very important bishop on the board. So that's why black can try to do a couple things like this little idea on the side of the board to annoy white, because another idea white wants to play is like knight c1, knight b3 to free this bishop, but they can't go knight c1 as long as you can hit him with knight d4, right? So we don't do this yet, right? We don't do this yet. We keep that idea on the table. Kind of some interesting King's Indian stuff that's very off topic, but I hope that answered your question. All right, side right, have a good one. Thank you for joining. Yan Yan counter cannot counter the Yan Yan himself. Yeah, really, really interesting stuff there. All right, you guys. All right. I might... If one more person wants to send me a challenge on Lead Chess, I will accept. I'll accept one more challenge on Lead Chess. No? I'll play. I just want to play one more game. I want to play one more game, and then it's almost 2 a.m. and I have to go to the office tomorrow for my real job. Thoughts on early rook lifts? I mean, I can't say that they're good or bad. You mean like so early that like you're playing like h4, rook h3, but while your king's still in the middle? In general, probably not. All right, Desert Lightning, I have yet to accept your challenge. Sorry, Mr. Yan Yan, but I will accept here. So good luck. Make sure to mute the stream. And let's have a 3+2. But yeah, in general, I think castle, get your pieces out. Am I going to face a Vienna? And rook lifts can be one way to activate. I think I am facing a Vienna. I know this is an interesting line, like takes, check, takes here. Oh, I see I have played one game against him. I'm 1-0 against Mr. Desert Lightning. This is how I tend to try to play against these sorts of things. I just try to keep this diagonal to cut the castle. And, what was I saying? I just try to keep that diagonal to cut the castle. And just try to play, like, just bishop c5, d6 to support this pawn on e5. I think knight takes e5. I would be happy to do that gambit. I would kind of be happy to do that gambit. Otherwise, I'm supporting here. My other idea is I want to go bishop g4, I want to castle, and I want to play knight d4. But yeah, I like just bishop c5, d6. I think in general it's a good way to counter. It's a good way to counter Schliemann's, you know, what do you call it against the Italian where it's like e4, e5. Oh, I didn't expect this. But you know what? I had these ready just in case.
So, queen d4. There's just knight d3. I think they're okay. So I think what I'd like to do is simply castle. Simply castle and just enjoy the fact that I have this great bishop causing lots of problems. Pawn takes c6 is very possible. In fact, poses some serious questions. I think what I'm going to do, though, is knight takes c6.
Although it's a pretty interesting choice.
Pawn takes c6, of course, is with tempo. It's all about what comes next. So here, bishop c4, queen d4, queen e2, bishop g4. I think the bishop on c4... Okay, I'm going to go knight takes.
Because I think knight d4 could be strong. Okay, so they take it anyway. And now the question is, I have sacrificed a pawn just for this. Just for this. I played d6 to fortify that. Now white, if they get a few moves, are just going to castle and I would just be down a pawn for absolutely nothing. So I need to not let that happen, and this is my time. This is my time to shine right here. I need to not let that happen. This is a critical moment. So my strikes, I have rook b8, I have f5, I have like here, I have like here, and we want to choose the right one. So I have check and queen h3, which is compelling. I guess there is queen to f3. I think most principle is just play f5, and that's why I didn't play pawn takes c6, is because I didn't want the bishop just coming to c4 and and just pinning me here. So f5 makes the most sense because it's just bringing the most guys to the party. I want this rook in the game and helping me to cause issues. Open lines, exactly. So you were asking about rook lifts, right? This is better than rook lifts. Just making those pawn trades so I don't have to spend the time coming around, right? So like my options for the f-file was to bring my rook here or just make that pawn trade. So here's knight a4, which is an interesting idea, but my instinct is I can punish this. So knight to a4, they really just wants me to move so that they can go here. But I would have queen d4 check anyway in that position. So, okay, but I have takes, and... Interesting, okay. It's not obvious what to do. My instinct was this was wrong, but I'm having trouble proving it, and we're running low on the clock. All right, we're just going to back it up. I think here, my idea is castles, and I'm going to go queen h4. If h3, I was going to go queen g3. Okay, we're going to allow this. And I was going to go bishop takes g3, takes, and then speaking of rook lifts, I was going to rook lift. Speaking of rook lifts, so I've at minimum a draw here. I've at minimum a draw, check, check, check. But speaking of rook lifts, I was going to rook lift. All right, we got to go for it. I mean, I can't just let the clock run out there. Or I mean, I can't just accept the draw there. I'm not sure this was so correct. Oh, I think I got him. I think I got him with queen h4. Wow. What a game. What a game. We finally ran him out of squares. Interesting game. Interesting game. GG. Let's have a look at this. This was a wild one. This was a wild one. So it was a Vienna. Yeah, GG, Mr. Desert Lightning. So I respect that. Desert Lightning, and you've got an Arizona Cardinals profile picture. Really repping the desert in Phoenix. I was there for the Final Four, actually, relatively recently, and it was desert-esque. It was desert-like, but it was actually a really nice city. So knight c6, it was in the Arizona Cardinals Stadium, actually. So knight c6, bishop to b5. So here's what we got. Here's how I like to deal with hits like this. So I was talking also about like the Schliemann, and I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of this. But a really easy way to deal with this is just like d3 against any sorts of like f5 hits. Put the bishop on c4. Don't take it. Don't take it. That's exactly what they want, is to now just take the whole center and everything. But now to play d3, fortifying this, just keeping your center, and now just having this diagonal that's going to cut them from castling and potentially punish them for being in the center by having access to the f7 square. So that's exactly what I tried to do here. Bishop c5 and just d6. Hold the center, get them on this diagonal. So here's knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to b5. And what I wanted to do is to play this move knight to e7, and the engine approved. So this is slightly in my favor. Oh, I realized I never put the settings back, and so you guys never saw the clocks, but my clock was running really low. See, and actually you'll see that now on analysis. So I played knight to e7, and my idea was if something like d3, I was going to go like bishop to g4, I was going to castle, I was going to have one of these knights here, and I was going to try and play knight d4, and white is far from castling. I was going to maybe play a6 if I needed to, so that knight a4, I would be able to keep this nasty diagonal, and I would try to play knight d4, cause problems for, you know, the fact that you've moved this f-pawn, and I can keep you in the center by controlling this square. In the game, pawn takes, and he challenged me with knight takes e5, going for this pawn. So castles, knight takes c6, knight takes c6, takes c6, takes c6, right? This knight was pretty dangerous, and so it was a good idea to trade. It was maybe going to jump into d4. And now we're in a situation where I've sacrificed a pawn for what? Well, I'm castled and you're not, and you won't be for the foreseeable future. This is very Bush-Gas-esque, actually, that I have this bishop here that's uncontested. You're not able to play d4 because of this opening here. So it really reminded me of that, and so I think, you know, having those ideas helped me out here. But so far, white hasn't really done anything wrong. They really just challenged me on my pawn sacrifice by take on e5. And in general, this should probably be a pretty good pawn sacrifice. So d3, and as I was saying during the game, if I do nothing, if I'm just like la, di-da, 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 here, white's just up a clean pawn for absolutely nothing. And it's a center pawn, right? So I can't let that happen. I do have them cut from short castling at the moment. So d3, very logical move. And f5 shrinks it from minus 0.8 to minus 0.3. I was thinking about queen to h4 check, which is the top recommendation, but I wasn't sure that this was going to break through. There was like queen to f3, which could defend against queen g2. Queen to f1 could propose a queen trade. But the bishop here makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. Both the bishops are going to cut off one of the directions from castling. So that's pretty nasty. And in a situation like this, maybe now I could play f5, bring the rooks in, as the king now stays in the center as long as I need it to. So maybe that was a better idea for that reason. But f5 makes a lot of sense. I mean, king's in the center, and I'm going to open it up right there. And instead of just waiting around for me to get to it with bishop to d2 and probably never escaping in time, knight to a4 was a very interesting idea, trying to make this bishop move so that you can castle. However, the issue is with knight to a4 is that you're not even quite threatening to castle because there's this queen d4 check. So you're not even quite threatening to get out of the middle, and pawn takes e4 could pose serious problems. Could have done rook f2 and run. Okay, yeah, I'm excited to get to that part. So knight to a4 was played. Yeah, so the best option was queen to e2 to try to defend, and it's saying takes, check. This is just the engine line. Knight g5. I don't even know what's happening. Like, not takes. I guess bishop g4 and rook to e8 is coming. So just or queen g2. So just some crazy stuff with your opponent's king in the center. It's much better that their king's in the center and mine is safe and sound. But yeah, f5 pawn trade where their king is and opening up the rooks. Principled way to play, and honestly, I just should have played it faster. Knight to a4, bishop to d6. So here was my evil plan. Castles, because bishop d6 otherwise makes no sense, because you cut off queen d4 check, which is what stopped them from castling. But I have this nice follow-up with just queen h4. And none of the white pieces are well equipped to stop this idea, right? Like, imagine there was a knight on f3, that would obviously change everything, and I'd just be down a pawn. h3, I was going to zigzag in here. And so there's no e5, there's no bishop f4, can't do any of that stuff. I have pieces ready to get them. So here comes g3 and the sacrifice, of course. Takes. So it's minus 3.2, but I might have done this completely wrong. Actually, I didn't. I did it right. So check. I played to gain a couple, like a moment on the clock, and now rook to f6. So with rook to f6, I have the checkmating pattern that I exhibited in the game,
And it's minus 3.1. So you guys were talking about rook f2, but rook f2 takes away the one spot for the king. So I think that loses. I was thinking during the game about queen f3 as a resource, because the easiest resource for me would have been if this bishop weren't controlling h6, just rook f6 and like pre-moving rook h6, right? Like imagine this pawn were just here or something. Just pre-moving rook h6 could knock him out. But I don't have that. The bishop controls the h6 square. So I have to do it this way and check him on g6, which is not as good because it allows the king to run away rather than here where there's no running away that way. So bishop to f4 was played, which makes a lot of sense to cover g3, but it does allow me for this checkmating pattern, check here, and the king is out of squares, which is pretty nice how the rook and queen were working together. It's funny, I was talking about rook lifts during that game. I had to sacrifice the most important things, but it's important that I don't do just like nothing, and then queen to f3, and then this queen trade can defend everything. Speaking of queen to f3, what was the deal with it in this position? What if I don't check the engine and figure it out myself? So, check king f2, I gotta presume. Am I stupid, or is this just not that obvious? I think, because queen h2, there's king e1. I think queen h4, king e3, I have rook g3. King e2, oh no, don't take here. You get checkmated. A little bit embarrassing. This isn't so obvious to me. I was thinking maybe check and rook g3 could be good. It's wrong. I've already messed up. Ah, it's not rook g6 at all. That's why I didn't see it. It was queen h4. I just assumed rook g6. Queen h4 is the key move. Preparing rook g6, cutting the king's escape there, so the queen can't cover against the rook, right? The queen could only cover against the queen. It can propose a queen trade. This is not the trade white wants. Otherwise, rook g6 is going to get him. Takes doesn't really help matters. It just delays the inevitable. And with rook to f2, then there's takes e4, and the fact that we have other pieces here is helping. Interesting stuff. Wow. So, yeah, queen f3 was certainly the best practical try, but bishop f4 was played, and I had this checkmating pattern. So a pretty nice game there against the Vienna by Mr. Desert Lightning, and I had 94 accuracy there with just a couple inaccuracies, which were here f5 and here bishop d6. Better was the best move here. You guys want to try to guess the best move here? You guys can comment in the chat what you would play maybe if you were white, if you were black here. So they just attacked your bishop. See if anyone gets it. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you should think to yourself, what is a creative move here? F takes E is possible. They'll take here. What could set up F takes E? Yeah, it's bishop F2, which is really nasty. So then takes F takes E, king E1. Now we get kind of the same position, except you've played this, except it's your move, right? Except it's your move. So like takes, knight takes C5 would have been played otherwise. And now with queen D4, you're attacking this knight and threatening queen to F2. So wow, just a filthy sequence there. Bishop F2 check, just putting it. I feel like bishop F2 is the type of move you would play if there were a pawn there. But playing bishop F2 when there's nothing there is that's just incredible. Yeah, now here takes, oh, that's such a nice one. And this would be checkmate. So, yeah, but anyway, really, really fun game. Probably knight takes E5 is not advisable from a practical point of view. The best, probably the best option was knight A4, hitting the bishop. As I said, I did not create that square yet, and now this very dangerous bishop is now going to have to reroute off of that diagonal, and white can castle, and we're probably just looking at equality. But yeah, in terms of that bishop, it is powerful. Like I use these ideas in a lot of lines, right? So in the Pickler Gambit here, right, F takes E5, falls victim to check, and winning the rook. So it takes bishop C5. This bishop is nasty against the King's Gambit. And I talked about this in my deferred Schliemann video as well. But yeah, I mean, if you can just get a bishop there and they've moved their f-pawn, you can keep them in the center. and it might just be really good. So a great game by Desert Lightning. Thank you very much for that. All right, everyone. I think I have to sign off. I was about to say I'll find someone to raid, but not on Twitch. It's getting a little late. Sorry, Sweetie Kiss. I saw the challenge. I saw a couple other challenges. I appreciate it, but next time for sure. I'll probably stream tomorrow. Why not? So, yeah, I mean, this was a great stream. This was a really great stream. I love streaming on YouTube. I love having no technical issues. I mean, imagine that. So, everything here, you can find all my Gambits there. Join the Discord. Like I said, really, really awesome community where everyone's sharing their games and everything. And please subscribe to me on YouTube, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back on YouTube live. This is great. Have a great night. Bye-bye.